Is this gonna
And then
blow up someone's ear if I crack this?
nah, do it for the ASMR.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Ooh. Damn, I got some spray on that.
I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit too strong, you know.
It's okay. I'm just feeling the, what is it, dream cream?
Yeah, the orange.
The dream cream?
Orange cream. Well, you don't want it to go to waste.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Save Scummers, your weekly gaming conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Benjamin Scott. Joining me, as always, is Evan Harrell.
Absolutely. Let's go, people.
Yeah, whatchamacallit? You know what I've been thinking about lately?
What?
I was thinking about data. I have a Google phone, and I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about like how, like, someone said, well, you have a Google phone, so that thing's just like a microphone gathering your data constantly.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm in that boat. But when it, you know, everybody talks about data like it's this like super commodifiable thing that all these companies are selling for all this money. It's so lucrative. Mm-hmm. And it made me think, like, why aren't individuals able to monetize on their private data? And
like sell their own personal information to companies.
yes, like why isn't there a storefront where you can go online and be like, I want to sell my data, who's buying? And just like put it up for sale and a company buys it, you know, like based on demographic information.
Yeah.
Like, is it just because we've already agreed to the terms of service that have let like Google or whoever the fuck just get all the money off of that?
Big marketing would like to know your location.
Yeah. I was
Mad Men would like to know your location.
Have you watched Mad Men?
Yeah, Don Draper is coming for you.
Oh shit. Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay.
It was very interesting being a younger person seeing life kind of like that.
Yeah.
I asked my parents, like, when they would come in and see if I was watching anything, they'd be like, dang, that's kind of accurate for the time period and stuff like that. But it was good.
Wait, were they alive during that era?
No, they weren't. But
okay.
Like some of the fall off, you know.
I
think it's 50. I think it's 60s. Early 70s is when Mad Men, unless it's 50s what I'm thinking, but I feel like there'd be a lot more post World War II references.
Yeah. I would bet 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they definitely weren't, but politically and socially, I think they dealt with, you know, that decade to decade culture.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good show.
Okay.
Don Draper, I think, is the main character, and whoever the actual actor is for him is really good.
Okay.
Something Hammond, I think.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Cool actor.
Yeah. Mad Men's one of the, in terms of like great TV shows.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of my last few blind spots because I've like seen Sopranos, Breaking Bad.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those FX or one of the AMC like classics, because AMC does put out some really good stuff.
Yeah. I remember when it was like Mad Men and The Walking Dead were happening at the same time, and it was like peak Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like, I have a really funny story about The Walking Dead. I was a senior in high school, and I went to a wedding in Asheville, North Carolina, or it was in Boone, and we were staying with a guy, like a family friend, that he blew glass for a living.
That's pretty cool. And
so we were hanging out with him, and before like dabs and everything were a thing, he was like, I mean, because this is like 2010, 2011. It would have been Halloween 2010. He was like, do you want to try this? He called it oh shit, what did he call it? Beeswax. He was like, have you ever smoked beeswax? And I was like, no. And so we went to this wedding, and it was Halloween themed, so we were dressed like, I think I painted myself like a zombie or something because I didn't have a costume. And then when we came home, we smoked the beeswax and then watched the first episode as it aired of The Walking Dead.
That's dope.
So I was like sitting on a couch, fucking gonzo.
Yeah.
And having my mind blown by that first episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing the little girl.
Yes.
And Rick Grimes being like, "Oh no, Carl, I can't do this." And,
yeah, all that. Yeah,
all that.
But what have you been up to this week?
Whole lot of nothing other than putting Warhammer models together for Age of Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
For any listeners that like Warhammer, 4th edition is going to come out this year in the summer. So that's pretty cool. Trying to get some meta units so I don't get beaten to the ground every game.
Yeah, because you just competed in a regional tournament?
It's called a GT, Cherokee GT, which is a grand tournament, but I found out that it's actually a major. It had 248 people.
Wow.
And then if you win the top, you get a golden ticket. And the way that works is with the golden ticket, there's only 8 golden tickets per country, and you go to compete in Belgium. So the 8 best players of every single country go to Belgium.
And so if you had went the distance that day, you would have had a golden ticket and been like planning a trip to Belgium.
I mean, yeah, if I was that good, which I'm definitely not that good, but it's pretty insane. And then for countries that are smaller, there's other golden tickets available, and they call them mercenaries for hire.
Okay.
So then you can represent a country with a full team, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. But yeah, that was fun, and just doing that. Haven't really been able to play Steel Rising. Plan on streaming that hopefully this weekend. And then obviously we'll be playing Borderlands and Helldivers.
Yeah, dude,
it's fun.
I know like Helldivers is having a moment. Right now, but like personally, I'm like, can we get back to Borderlands?
Yes.
Because it's. I know I've said. I think I said this in the last episode. I like that it always feels like we're doing something different, even though we are just kind of running around the arid Badlands.
Yeah.
Doing the things loosely connected to that, but it still is like really exciting, especially like when we were getting rinsed by, what was the dude's name?
Oh, Bonehead. Yeah. And it's just a side mission too. Like, it's a total random dude just there for the namesake of a unique gun. Yeah,
I just was not paying attention to side missions and the levels.
Yeah.
And
have you played looter shooters before? Other than I know Destiny's kind of like has that thrown into their keywords, but
yeah, I would say when you look at looter shooters as from like what Borderlands did onward, because like I know you can loot a lot in Fallout and you can technically shoot guns, but I wouldn't call that a looter shooter.
Yeah, and you could argue Diablo minus the shooting.
Oh, okay.
But like the looting, you know what I mean? So
yeah, so I would say for the most part, like I've played Borderlands 2, but hid behind rocks the entire time.
Yeah.
And then that's weird out of context. I had somebody drag me through the game the first time because I wasn't up to level, and it ruined the experience. And then just Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 would really be, and what I've played of Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that's cool because, and I've shared this with you, like Borderlands is definitely like a staple of that genre.
Yeah.
Or like a solid foundational pillar, and a lot of stuff is like based off of that. Okay. Other than, like I said, I mean, I know Diablo has a lot of loot and stuff like that, but that's like top down, melee with abilities.
Yeah.
Not really a looter shooter. And Destiny is a looter shooter, but then it's got a lot of other genre components in it.
Is The Division considered a looter shooter?
Yeah, it is actually.
Okay. Got you. Because I would think like that, maybe Anthem, Outriders.
Yeah, Outriders, I think is more, I've heard it be called as the Destiny killer, and it definitely wasn't.
Yeah. I know a lot of people really liked it.
Anthem was supposed to be also a looter shooter.
Okay.
That Colossal Flop, the day before, was supposed to be an extraction looter shooter.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
so I would say I'm pretty unfamiliar.
Okay. But it's awesome, though. I mean, I think it's a fun genre to play, and it's a good solid game with good gameplay mechanics and an awesome story.
Okay.
And it's nice for you being a participant for when you do fight a challenging boss, because the whole premise is there's a whole list of special, uniquely named legendary items, and they're all tied to certain bosses. So like there's some that every boss has a chance to drop, and then there's some that bosses will only drop these. So it adds that extra level of reward when you're farming, or you kill it and then you see the golden light and you're like, oh my god, it dropped its legendary, and what builds can I do with that and stuff. So I got that shotgun from the first From Sledge, yeah.
Yes, Sledge. Yep.
So all bosses have a unique, even like Bonehead, his SMG was a unique one.
Yeah.
In the other games, they made them a little bit more generalized, but they did tie certain pieces of gear to certain bosses.
Okay.
Because they obviously expanded, because Borderlands 2 won a Guinness World Record for most guns in a game.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then I think Borderlands 3 beat that, so.
Damn.
Now, granted, though, the guns are like, okay, we're going to remove this piece of the gun and add like a muzzle breaker. Okay, it's a totally different gun.
Yeah, and it's a different manufacturer.
Yeah, so like it is definitely a different gun, but you can definitely see some similarities and stuff like that, which is fine though. It's still a lot better than a lot of other games.
All right.
So,
yeah, I'm having a good time.
Nice.
It's fun. And it's cool to like really feel like I'm experiencing it.
Yeah,
it's a shame that we don't get to play it as much as we would like to.
Wish I was unemployed.
Yeah, I know. If I could know life, like if I was just a trust fund kid, coasting, dude. The Grand Theft Auto 4, like son, that's just like hanging out, hitting bongs, playing video games in his room all day.
Yeah,
like can you blame him?
No, I mean. Well, sometimes a little bit. The wanting to be a contribution to society part of me says I can't blame him, but the inner gamer of me is like, I could go for staying up till 4 a.m. again, playing games, doing nothing. Yeah,
I would just say, like, I've never been tempted on that level. So who am I to say how I would react?
Yeah.
If that's all you know.
Yeah,
like, he might have some, like, internal suffering to deal with.
Yeah.
But, like... That's a hard deal to just like pass up.
It's a nice simple life.
Yeah.
So if my parents are watching this, throw me a bone.
Yeah. Well, this week for the topic of the show, and sorry I haven't holding this whole iPad. It's probably not as bad as I think it is.
No, I think it looks good.
We decided that we wanted to talk about, are there too many games? And so I wrote this little piece to kind of get us sent off, to give us some context. It seems like every time we turn around, there's another game releasing that demands our attention. Games like the original Dying Light kick down the door for the post-holiday season break gamers used to have, and the summers being void of new releases has been a thing of the past for years now. With limited time and limited resources, gamers have to be more judicious than ever with how they spend their precious commodities. Not to mention, bloated game development budgets are making releasing a game to commercial success more critical than ever, but if one reads the tea leaves, it's clear that the studios are feeling the heat of spending too much on games that people aren't buying at full price, or even worse, not at all. With that said, I'll kick it to you. What do you do you think there are too many games?
Absolutely. Like at its core, I think there's just too much stuff. I think part of that, like consumerism and stuff, has definitely like not helped anything with the industry. When I think of too many games for a genre, the top two that come to mind would be zombies and survival games. Okay. There's always survival games happening all the time. Everybody's trying to do the next big thing. When right now there's only like a couple staples. Like Ark was basically just survival with dinosaurs, but nobody did it before. Yeah. So, it popped off. Rust is a very popular, but there's a lot of PvP elements with that. Sons of the Forest, survival, but spooky. Horror. Like I know there's one on Steam called Green Hell, which is good, I've heard, but again, it's like spooky survival. So it just, you can instantly accredit it to something else or just see the similarities. Same with zombies. There's going to be those staple games like Left 4 Dead, Dead Island, very popular. Yeah. Dying Light, stuff like that.
Days Gone.
Yep.
The Last of Us.
Yep, The Last of Us. Anything like that, and then there's just like ever so slight changes. Those are the two that I think are the most bloated in terms of genres. But then with too many games, I think the issue for gamers is FOMO. Because everything nowadays has a battle pass and a season. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, I only have so much time to play maybe like 2 games a month. And then you don't want to miss out on the cool stuff on the battle pass for the season. So then you risk forking over hundreds of dollars to max out whatever it is that you wanted just to look cool, or just not experience that. So yeah, I would say it's definitely, there's bloat. Yes, there's too many games, but I think it's more of the issue of there's so much live service that's trying to force people into their stuff, and then the fear of missing out, everybody's like gravitating towards that, and that's what makes it seem like, oh dang, there's just so much stuff to do, I don't want to miss out on XYZ.
Yeah.
Like, think about if you played Overwatch, and we'll just say like Apex or Warzone. Could you imagine 2 seasons of grinding multiplayer games?
Yeah.
You would have no time to play unless you're unemployed or something, like a single player game or anything else like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be hard to balance.
Totally. And it feels like the balance is, or at least for me, what I found, I work a full-time job, so do you, that like I can really only play one live service game at a time.
Yeah.
And right now it's Helldivers.
Yep.
And then I also, like, it's funny because, like, I know Borderlands isn't a live service game, but it's a co-op game that is also serving, it's weird, it's kind of like a hybrid of the yin and yang for me, because, like, one side, the yin is the live service game, and the yang is the, like, single player story driven experience. And Borderlands is kind of like in the middle there, because there is a story, like a linear story happening, but it's also cooperative.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm probably enjoying it so much, because it's blending the fun zone out of playing a live service game with your friends while also giving you the story. And
not having that internal pressure to progress. Like, you gotta,
Yeah, you're really just wanting to find cool guns and keep playing.
Yeah, like we've talked, it would be awesome to definitely grind out Helldivers for a solid day.
Yeah.
Just for medals, just to get weapons or stratagems with the requisition slips. But, like, fortunately, that's just not possible with life and everything.
Yeah, like that first weekend when it dominated our psyche.
Yeah.
But I definitely so for context, about almost like 2 years ago, I started like working on videos, and I was having a good time doing that, and I saw an opportunity to write for a website, and I started writing for them. And I did that for a year and got so burnt out on games.
Because of how much?
Yeah, it's especially because I was like the single player guy. So I wasn't playing a lot of live service outside of Gran Turismo 7. And then for the most part, I was just every 2 weeks having to capture a game to completion, write my review or whatever I was going to do, my editorial about the game. And then I would have that written, and that would be my article. But then I would also use it as a script for a video, and I would record a video, edit it, and whatever. And at that time, when I was doing all of that, I was like, there are too many games, but I think it was because of the work I was doing. And then when I stopped doing it, I was like, man, like I can really, like, there are a lot of games constantly releasing. And I think that subconsciously, I made the decision that there were too many games by saying I could only buy one a month. And yeah, there are like budgetary things with that, but that also plays into like the consumer's perspective of having to make decisions on which game to play just based off of financial.
Yeah.
But then with the time, when I really thought about it, like if I'm playing something the size of The Witcher, with my schedule, that takes me like a month. Final Fantasy 16 took me about a month.
Yeah, same.
And in that time, I didn't play anything else outside of maybe occasionally like a racing game with my buddies on Xbox. And so there are things that I would want to play. And I had this idea of like, I need to support the developers. I need to speak with my wallet and buy the games I'm interested in at full price.
Yeah.
And basically I had to put a stop to that because the backlog was just getting crazy.
Yeah.
I was spending way too much money, and I had to dial it back. And I like what you said about FOMO. I made a video called Social Media and FOMO Are Ruining Video Games.
Nice.
And it was like, kind of like, now that I'm not on social media, I've noticed a distinct difference between how I view what games are coming out and and how I make decisions on what to play and buy. It really has to speak to me on some level. Whereas when I don't know if it's tough because the games media side, I think, influences us to want to buy games to play. And the reality of what we would choose to play if we weren't being influenced would, I think, result in way less games. Not just because they were not being put in front of you, but if you were actively seeking out gameplay trailers and stuff, you would... I think with that, when you remove the layer of people saying how much fun they're having with it, you don't get that like, oh, well, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so like in the past and like with nowadays, how much time do you find yourself researching and waiting instead of buying the game? Because that's something that has definitely, we've seen the quality of the industry kind of become more of a hit or miss. Whereas before, when games did come out, they were solid games or home runs. Now you can have anywhere from a scam like the day before to a weird one-hit wonder like Pal World and like Lethal Company and stuff like that are really enticing. Like Pal World's really enticing, but then after a couple hours there's like nothing to do apparently, to then like, really hype super quality games like Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff like that.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Do you find yourself doing a lot more research instead of just being enticed by the base marketing? Yeah,
so really what my process is I subscribe to the PlayStation YouTube account, the Xbox YouTube account, and the Switch. Which often results in me getting a lot of duplicate trailers in my inbox or my subscription box because of the multi-platform games. But I use that to see kind of like what new games are coming out, or at least what's being teased. And then if something catches my eye, I open the PlayStation app and I add it to my wish list. And then kind of as things come out, either when I'm like checking Video Games Chronicle or IGN or Push Square, Pure Xbox, Nintendo Life, whatever I'm using to kind of get news on either platforms or general stuff, if something is on my wish list that I've been keeping an eye on, I start to see like, ooh, this might not be so good. I'll typically remove it from my wish list after if it like comes out, and based on how people are talking about it, like I don't know, it's tough because it's like I'm still allowing the media to kind of influence decisions, but like here, for example, this month in March, I had to make the choice. I narrowed down my choices between Rise of the Ronin and Alone in the Dark. And while I think Rise of the Ronin looks really cool, I know my sensibilities, and because it seems like it may be really hard from a gameplay perspective, I opted, like, I think I'm going to end up picking up Alone in the Dark because, like, I like a mystery, I like detectives, I like the spooky vibe, and I like that the two stories in it are going to be different for each character, and they suggest you play both of them before you hang up the game, which is totally like a marketing strategy. But when you have a game that you built like that, it's a no-brainer to market it that way. But it's funny because like I feel like there are too many games. or I'm interested in all of these games that are coming out, I'm not sure which one it is. I already look at it like, okay, which one of these characters am I going to play through first? Mm-hmm. That way, if there's something that comes out that I really like, I might just leave it at that. But I'm like, no, dude, if you're going to spend $60 on this game and there are 2 experiences within it, unless you don't like it, or you just didn't think it was that great, you really should give it a go. If it takes like 10 hours to beat, put the 20 hours in, because if you got Final Fantasy 16, that's 60 hours easy.
Oh yeah.
And so like, I guess I do think that, one, from like an industry perspective of like people making money and profiting, mm-hmm. It's like, yes, there are too many games, but it's also like, are you familiar with the UFC?
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand the idea of weight cutting, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so weight cutting is essentially lying. You weigh 185 or whatever you weigh in at for like fucking 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you immediately rehydrate and plump yourself back up to 200, when you're fighting that day, like the next day after weighing in, you're not that weight. And the argument with that is that, well, if you're not going to do it, other people are going to do it. And then when you get in the ring, you're going to be at a disadvantage because someone that weighs 205 pounds cuts weight to 185. But if you fully juiced are 185 pounds, this 205 monster is probably going to beat the brakes off you.
Yeah, even thinking like 5 pounds more. If you have 5 pounds more of pressure behind each punch or kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's how the math shakes out, but theoretically, think about
the mass,
that.
Yeah.
And so to tie the analogy back, if you're not, like, no matter when you hold your game to, there's going to be too many games.
Yeah.
So it's like you might as well just put the game out. Mm-hmm. And that you're putting it out, like, where, because there is that like 3D chess of like, you ever notice how every time Horizon is about to come out, The Legend of Zelda puts out a new game or something weird, Elden Ring comes out?
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, it's like when you launch, it has to be really strategic. And that's why I tied in Dying Light, because Dying Light, I think, came out in like February of 2015. And it was in that first time period, and or like the first quarter of the year, but the last fiscal quarter for the business year. And typically, I remember the conversation around that time and even being kind of surprised that, wow, a game came out after Christmas, like 2 months after. And I started to think, are they aware we're getting our tax returns? Because if you're on top of your taxes, you could have your return back in February. Yeah. And and it is, that was at the, sorry, I didn't mean
you finish.
I was going to say that was kind of unprecedented. And then it seems like after that, it has just been like, there's no break anymore.
Yeah.
The only break is if there's a month where the 15 games that are coming out just don't speak to you. That's your break.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up because, I remember times where, like, in the Christmas season, you'd have, like, 2 months of nonstop advertising for bundles on a console and a game. But now they don't really seem to do that so much because there's just so many games coming out. Like, there's not this AAA game that only 10 were released throughout the year, so they're going to partner with that and do a giant bundle anymore. It's like, well, there's 40 games now and they don't want to pick, so they're just going to give you some little side discount on their console or something. Yeah. Oh man, dude, the GameStop like weird bundles when you go to buy a console but you have to pay like $600 for it because they are shoving in all this extra stuff. That's what happened with my PS5.
Oh man, and I hate that stuff.
I didn't want I think it was Call of Duty Vanguard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't want Spider-Man at the time, so they gave me like over $100 worth of PlayStation gift cards.
Hell yeah.
Which is nice. I appreciate that they were able to do that. I think they also did run out of one of the games.
Oh, okay.
I think one was a racing game, Spider-Man, and Call of Duty Vanguard, and I was like, I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
So, and thankfully they did run out of one of them, so they couldn't possibly have done the bundle to begin with, so they were just like, okay, take all these. Yeah. And then I bought Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, fuck
and then Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Hell yeah.
With that, so yeah. Which was worth.
Yeah.
Because for that to be one of the first games I played on my PS5, beautiful.
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, like, I was reading through all of the games. Like, there's a Game Informer every year. It has, like, a list they update throughout the year of all the games that are coming out.
Oh, yeah, for, like, the month. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, break it down like that.
And I was just trying to get to March so I could start to look at the games that were coming out. And I was like 3 good swipes of my finger and then, like, stop. And I'm like, dude, that's so many games just in the first 2 months.
Yeah.
And I remember going into this year, I was like, it was funny because everybody was talking about how packed it was. And I kept being like, I don't know. Like, there isn't a lot that's jumping out at me this year. But then all of the sudden, fucking Final Fantasy Rebirth, which we knew about, but I was like, okay, that's one.
Yeah.
And then, like, Alone in the Dark, I'm interested in. Whatchamacallit? Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade. Sandland. R.I.P. Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, those are just what speak to my taste, but, like, if we started going through that list for you, it could be entirely different. I mean, you've got Erd Tree coming out later.
Shadows of the Erd Tree. I forget. I think Black Myth Wukong, I think, is already out, or is it
coming out?
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the list.
It's either that one, and then there's another one that's semi-similar to that I think was announced. It's another, like, Chinese mythology Dark Souls clone. Esque. I can't for the life of me think of the name, but next episode I'll probably remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Shadow of the Erd Tree is going to be pretty beefy. Because Miyazaki said that the base game of Elden Ring would take you 30 hours.
Wow.
Which is a lie.
Yeah.
Because you can easily spend over 100 hours.
Wow.
My first playthrough was over 100 hours. But I was very paranoid as someone who's played those games because I know you have to do a lot of backtracking for quests.
Yeah.
Because the quests are like, hey, it's me. Can you do this thing for me? And you're like, sure. And then you find them in another location and they're like, oh, wow, that item you picked up 20 hours ago, I need that.
Yeah.
Can I have that? Sure. And then another 40 hours later, you find them dead. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I died doing the thing that you helped me with. Yeah. See you later, dude. Here's some armor.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But see, like, so, like, when I remember when Elden Ring came out, I actually opted to buy that over Horizon. Okay. Because I was like, you know what? I want to try it. I think I can write something really cool about, like, my first experience playing a Souls game. I think I was gonna make, like, an article video. I finally beat a Souls game, or a From Software game, or whatever. And I started playing it, and I was like, wait, like, well, because I had those, like, 2-week turnarounds. I was like, I'm gonna run out of time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't, and so I had to make that decision then. But, like, it's funny because, like, when you spend your money, you want something that you're gonna get plenty of entertainment out of. Yep. And I think what's funny is that I have felt in myself this weird shift where I'm like, I want to buy a game and be able to beat it before the next thing that interests me comes out. Yeah. And so it's almost like I would rather play a shorter game than have something else go to the backlog, because by the time I beat the one that took me a month to play, and I go back to one that came out 2 weeks ago, there's likely something else coming out that I go, I think I'd rather just do that. And
yeah, because the apple's shinier, and then that other apple that was just as shiny only a month ago is now half completed or off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
that was a rough time for me when Elden Ring came out, because in the beginning of February, Total War Warhammer 3 came out.
Okay.
And then I think it was at the end of February was Elden Ring, and then, or it was Horizon, and then like 3 days later was the other game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure they were only like 3 or 2 days apart, which was crazy. Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense. Thankfully, Total War Warhammer 3 was pretty bad in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Very, very bad game, so I only played a little bit of it, and then I could dive into. But I bought both Horizon Forbidden West knowing I would play it. Here I am. I still have only just gotten past the like beginning tutorial area, which is also pretty impressive for itself. Games don't have that expansive free roam tutorial area.
You've gotta go back and play
after
that
Steel
game.
Rising. I shouldn't do any other backlog. I should do that one.
Yeah,
especially because I did go out of my way to buy the collector's edition.
Yeah,
because I wanted the cool robot mammoth.
Hell yeah,
and it is sick.
Yeah. Oh, you have that?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's cool.
It is. That one.
That's cool.
16, I got collector's editions.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I think in terms of there being the amount of games, I think, well, you see the industry starting to, like we talked about last week, Sean Layden talking about how like live service games and inflated budgets and stuff. I think to make something of like high caliber takes a lot of time and effort. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to put it out and there's too much happening where it's not going to sell well, you really have to compete for the time and money. And so that probably pushes people or studios to spend even more money to make the game even bigger and better.
Yeah.
But
crunch time and stuff like that.
But it's funny because I found myself starting to gravitate more towards like games like Evil West.
Okay.
Basically, like anything that like Focus Entertainment or THQ Nordic are putting out, like Alone in the Dark seems kind of like, it almost reminds me of like the 360 PS3 era of like single player games. Like the quality's not crazy over the top, but it's a good story, well written,
solid 7s.
Yeah, and
maybe low 8.
Yeah,
10, yeah.
And I feel that way because I want to maximize. What was that?
That was my stomach.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the ghost does that.
The ghost causes the rumbles.
They do.
Yeah.
Only 10 calories, 5 calories, super healthy. But
it's the ghost screaming inside.
They do something to my intestines.
Get me the fuck out of here.
Just waiting on that sponsorship.
Yeah. So. Well, I don't know. I think for the industry, there are too many games. Most definitely. And for gamers, there are too many games. Most definitely. In terms of the industry, I don't know what they do about that other than make games quicker, cheaper, but upholding some level of standard. Or like maybe they have to start reusing assets and just ignore all of the people complaining online about them reusing assets.
Destiny 2.
Yeah. But like you look at games like Uncharted.
Yeah.
Where like Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 came out 2 years apart from one another. Mm-hmm. Awesome games. If they could just go back to making games like that have these set piece moments, are fun and not way huge in scope, like they don't have to be they don't have to even be Uncharted 4 levels of good. Lost Legacy, give me more stuff like that. You sell for like $20-$30. I play it for 15-16 hours or however long that game was and get out. In terms of single player experiences, I think between games like that and live service, like gamers could kind of balance things of that nature, but it's like I also don't want to give up like an Elden Ring or a Horizon Forbidden West. So it's really, I guess you really, in terms of how the player has to deal with there being too many games, is, I mean, really you kind of just have to weigh your time and money and separate yourself from the idea that you have to support the devs. Like, just throw things on your wish list and hope that by the time you get to it, you can at least hang your hat on the idea of like, I got it for cheaper because it went on, the publisher decided to put it on sale or agreed to be a part of a storefront sale. And then also because of all of the updates, you got a better game for cheaper.
Yeah.
And just kind of be okay with that.
Now, let me ask you this, because I was just thinking about this.
Okay.
It's kind of a question, kind of a comment. I'll elaborate on that. But essentially, what if it's not that there's too many games, and it's maybe there's some of us who have too big of a palate? Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I say that is because some of my friends, they hardly ever play any single-player games. I mean, they will, when they go to play games, it is Rocket League, Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Maybe Smite as well. That's literally it. That is their whole retinue of games.
Yeah.
And like, I have a buddy who played Red Dead Redemption and Farming Sim. Those are the only games, you know what I mean, that interest him. So to him, he doesn't care about anything other than when 8 years down the road, Red Dead Redemption 3 comes out or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or in another year when Farming Sim 25 comes out or something.
Yeah.
So
I wish
you could have that type of
mindset.
Yeah.
Just that very limited scope.
Yeah.
I
have a good amount of friends that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that's just the games they like, and they're happy. And because it's only so few, they can keep up with the battle passes and the live service.
Yeah. I have those buddies too. Mm-hmm. Like, I have buddies that like all they want to do are play racing games.
Yeah.
And like they're really into simulation racing, and that's it for them. Mm-hmm. Like, they might dabble in like Halo because everybody else is kind of interested, and they're like, yeah, I still got it downloaded, and they'll fire it up and play. But for the most part, they're really siloed into like that. But like a Pal World will come out and they'll check it out for a week and then move on.
And that's what I'm saying. It's a weird double-edged sword because like for people like that, all of these games, they're not marketed to because they're never going to buy them, really.
Yeah.
But for people like us and those who share that, you know, larger catalog of genres they try out, we are the ones that are going to fork up the money, but then we're going to have a backlog. So, like, it's too much for us, but that's because we're the ones, you know, who want that.
Yeah.
But then there's a decent market of people who are totally fine with, like I said, their Red Dead Redemption every 8 years or something and Farming Sim.
And what you described is the latter.
Yeah.
Is most people.
Okay.
I would say that the enthusiast,
the
person that's like, oh my God, have you seen Sea of Stars? It's Chrono Trigger meets, you know, like Final Fantasy or something, and like it's got this like bitchin' soundtrack, and the pixel art is gorgeous, and like they're coming off of The Messenger, which is this really rad 2D side scroller that I enjoyed. Like, the people that are playing Fortnite and fucking Genshin Impact, and like that's all they care about, they don't give a fuck. Like, they see that and they're like fake and gay, and they're the ones like, this sucks in the E3 press conference, like chat.
Pixel graphics. I want to see the grains on a fucking piece of rice or a fly's ass, or
so like, I think that it's definitely a problem for the enthusiasts, but also like a problem for, and I'm not, when I say this, I'm not trying to say that a game like Fortnite is an art.
Yeah.
But crafting a single player experience is a more artful endeavor, I believe.
I would agree with that, in the fact that when you look at the core like skeleton of a game, and we'll use Fortnite for example, which like, was there ever even really a story in the first season? Like, now they absolutely have this overarching like multiverse stuff, but you could also argue they're just throwing in pop characters to get their $20 skin bundle to sell. You want to be Darth Vader? We're adding a lightsaber now in the game that insta-kills somebody. Like Thanos, they did all the Marvel stuff and shit. You want
to Kamehameha somebody?
Yeah.
Kamehameha Bugs Bunny out of the fucking sky.
I want to be Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan, zipping on trees in Tomato Town.
Yeah. Which is cool as shit.
Yeah.
But like...
But you don't have to worry about dialogue.
Yes.
Story, drama, like the twists and turns of all writing, you don't have to deal with that side at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and...
You could get like a BuzzFeed columnist to write your Fortnite story.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it sounds really pretentious.
Yeah.
But I prefer to be a single player gamer, and I think I'm having this is where it gets really pretentious. But I go back and forth on this, because like if you are minute to minute zoned out on the experience and not having that fourth wall break of being aware that you're playing a game that you need to digest this story or else you miss something, like the minute to minute zone out of most live service games, I am envious of people that do that, because I feel like, because I want to play single player games, I'm missing out on a pure zone out like that.
Yeah. Because
I'm like trying to get through Resistance Retribution, and so that I can be like, I'm a big Resistance fan and I know that this story is canon. So I need to finally get around to seeing it all the way through. And then I play it and I'm like, yeah, that story was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything to write home about. It's like, it's I don't know, but like trying to keep it connected to, are there too many games?
You're right. So I wanted your opinion on that comment, because I thought about it, and for the audience, for anybody watching, they might be like, well, what the hell are these guys talking about? I only play 5 games and I'm totally satisfied with them.
Yeah. And they're like, I'm playing Helldivers right now.
Like, let's listen to these two assholes talking about too many games. So I just wanted to like bring that. Yes, we acknowledge the other side of that.
Well, can I ask you a question about backlogs?
Yeah.
Connected to this, how do you define your backlog?
In terms of like what I want to play next, or because
I'll frame it how I kind of look at it, and you just tell me if you look at it the same way.
Okay.
To me, my backlog are games that I have purchased that I have not beat, and I don't consider games that I'm interested in that came out 3 months ago part of my backlog unless I bought it and didn't play it.
I agree with that, because my backlog consists of games that I have bought and have never beaten or played.
Okay.
Horizon Forbidden West is an example of that. But then my backlog consists of the PlayStation Game of the Month. And then I instantaneously add it. And it's a real 50-50 shot, because out of all the games that they offer, am I going to be interested in it? No. But, like, for example, Steel Rising. Yeah. I do remember seeing the game, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. It looks cool. That's all it came about, but then it became a free month, and I was like, okay, let's give it a try. You know? Yeah. So that's how I view my backlog, but I am guilty, and I do agree with, that's how I view. If I purchased it, haven't finished it, or even played it yet, that's in my backlog.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I compartmentalize it into backlog and wish list.
Okay.
Where I'm a big user of the PlayStation Store wish list.
I am not. My backlog is my wish list.
Shit. My phone's all the way over there. Wait, I actually might have the PlayStation app on here. How do I get to it? Because I'll read off my backlog or my wish list if I have it. It's not on here. Anyway.
I can tell you my backlog.
Yeah. Dude, I one time sat down to make a backlog of every game I own that I have not played, or I've played but I haven't beat it, and I want to give it the time of day. It is well over 100 games.
Oh yeah, like right here, I'll just say like the top 6 games I have right here.
Yeah,
I have Neo, which I mean it's fine. I have Neo 2. Metal Hellsinger.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with that game. It looked cool. It's like a musical Doom.
Yeah.
A rhythm, something.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks dope. I wouldn't have gotten it, but it was like free or something. Tales of Arise, I heard, was really good.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
Never purchased it. Threw it in the backlog. The Outer Worlds, definitely interested in playing that.
Yeah.
So, which sucks seeing that right now because now I'm like, do I put that above Horizon?
Yeah.
Because it'll probably be a shorter
Now,
game.
these are games you've bought but haven't finished, or games in your wish list?
These are all in my backlog of games that I've saved from being like a tier member of PlayStation and then scooping up the monthly games.
Got you. Okay.
But like, I will have to find.
So is that like in a folder on your PlayStation?
It's just in my game library.
Oh, okay, in your game library. Got you.
Oh no, I beat Mortal Kombat.
Okay. So you kind of keep like mental track.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
I've got Alan Wake here.
Hell yeah.
So
Dude.
there's some that I've played, like Returnal, you told me to play.
Yeah.
I dipped my toes in and it was fun, but then I didn't have enough space. But like I still have it, but I would barely say, I only cleared like the first balls.
Cool.
So
Dude, Returnal's so dope.
it was really fun.
Probably the most interesting PlayStation Studios game that's come out in the PS5 generation.
Yeah. Here we go. The Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
Bought that game. Didn't finish it. I got about like 6 or 8 hours in. I don't think it's a very long game. It's like Dead Space.
Yeah.
Super disappointed. Was very tired of the gameplay loop.
Wow. So have you abandoned it, and when you abandon a game, is it out of your backlog?
At this point, for a game like the Callisto Protocol, maybe it'll probably be years because there's just a lot of better stuff to be playing.
Yeah.
With the Callisto Protocol, I know there was a DLC, and I think it was like a story DLC. But again, very disappointed coming from one of the co-founders of Visceral Games.
Yeah.
And I got to a point, and I don't remember this gameplay loop happening in Dead Space games, but it got to a point where you were surrounded by these more durable enemies, but there would be spikes and shit around the wall. So all you would do is you'd bait them out, telekinesis, throw them into a fucking wall, repeat the process.
Got you.
It didn't become like... It became less resource management horror. Like, if I don't shoot this fucking necromorph at the correct spot, I'm going to waste bullets, and I can't afford that.
Yeah.
I became... I'm just going to really upgrade one gun and my telekinesis and just do this every single time.
Damn.
And then just run away and repeat the process.
Wow.
And these enemies were like more prone to sound or something but couldn't see. Okay. So you just sneak up behind them, pick them up and throw them, and then the ones get alerted by sound, and then they're standing in front of the spiked wall that you're about to throw them into. Yeah. So they're actually helping you defeat them because they're like, huh, what happened here? And there's just blood and gore on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the Callisto Protocol is one of those games that I don't think I have it wish listed anymore. I think I, at some point, was like, you know what, because it had gone on sale and some so with games that I've bought that go into the backlog, I lately have started to think of them as like a sunk cost. That like maybe a day will come where I am bored and I want to play something new, and I look at that game and I go, fucking Lost Odyssey on 360.
Absolutely.
You know what? I think I'm going to finally give that a shot. Or fucking Blue Dragon. Yeah. Like, I think I'm going to check that out. But I think, particularly now that we're doing a podcast, I feel like that I'm closer to that. Like, I should look at it like a sunk cost and play like at least something new once a month. But also, like, I think if we weren't playing Borderlands in its entirety, I would be playing Helldivers as my live service game, and then I would play like one new game, one backlog game, and kind of try to alternate between those of like things I want to play that I bought, and then like things that just came out that I'm really excited about.
But you could argue that Borderlands is your backlog.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it like that, and I'm also playing another single player game. Yeah, just because there's times where I'm in a game that both Helldivers and Borderlands, like I don't play Borderlands without you. Helldivers I can play by myself, and I have run with randoms, but I prefer to play with the homies. Yeah. So for like that stretch between like 6 o'clock and 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Before I go to work, that's when I'm playing Resistance Retribution or whatever single player game I'm trying to play. But there are so many games where like I almost need to like schedule game time.
Oh, yeah, and with life and everything.
Yeah.
And it sucks too because it's crazy to think like those games that you can drop 100 hours. 100 hours when you work full time, have other stuff throughout the week.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to think. Like, you know, we'll do the 9 to 5 job. By the time you do all of your prep for the next day, you've probably done 2 hours. So 7. Let's say maybe 7 to 10, 3 hours a day, and that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Pushing it, and that's every day. Like, what, 7 times 3? That's 21. Good math.
Unless you're like...
That's literally over a month.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like, The Witcher 3, when I decided to play through that, I played through that, like, last January. And I, like, started it after Christmas, and I think I finished it, like, late January.
And we complained a lot about 16 with those side quests. Yeah. And that's what, like, is upsetting because the game would have been more digestible if a solid 10 to 20 hours would have been cut off if some of those side quests weren't there, and that single-handedly would have allowed you to complete the game. And like I think it did take me over a month. Yeah. So like, it could have been done a lot quicker.
Yeah. And it's funny because like some of the best games have too much in them. Yeah. Because we have that pressure. It's almost like when I get excited about a game and I'm locked in on it, I almost need to ignore everything that's coming out. Like almost stay away from the news. Don't get online. Don't look at anything. Just be obsessed with that game. Because like, you remember being a kid and like your birthday would come and your folks would be like, hey, here's Borderlands 2. Yeah. And you're like, that's your game. That's what you're playing from the moment you get home and your homework's done and all that to the moment you go to bed, and you don't foresee anything interrupting that. But nowadays I'm like playing through something and I'm like, I've got to get through this because fucking Rise of the Ronin comes out fucking 2 weeks from now. I got to hurry up and get through this. Yeah. Or it's like it comes out on Friday. I've got Monday morning and evening, Tuesday morning and evening, Wednesday morning and evening, but Thursday's date night. You know, it's like...
And then when you get into those loops, then you risk you seeing it as a chore. Totally. And with what you mentioned about like burnout, having like a 2-week return when you wrote for video games and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. And even now that I'm not in that, I still kind of feel that way.
Have a risk of that,
Yeah. Especially if you play socially. Because you know when you have to fire up Final Fantasy 14 that you're not making progress on Borderlands, you're not making progress on Helldivers 2, you're not making progress on Steel Rising. Yeah. And you're just like, well, but like you don't want to sacrifice that. So it's like you almost have to like, it's crazy how
scheduled games have become.
Yeah. As like an adult, and also just because of the nature of how many games there are.
Joys of being an adult.
Yeah. It's like you have to have time management skills or just be blissfully unaware. That's why I think I envy it. Is like, it would be so nice to like go over to a friend's house and see them playing Rise of the Ronin and be like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. And they're like, oh, this is Rise of the Ronin. You didn't see this? And you're like, hell no. Yeah. And then you go home and you buy it because you're so hype off of seeing your buddy play it. Like, I wish it felt like that. Yeah. But I would have to ignore everything. You know?
And be a neat or shut in.
Yeah, or like just go to work and like when you go to Target, like stroll through and hope they still have physical games. Yeah. And like be like, oh shit, Final Fantasy 16 came out? Like what?
It's crazy to think though also as like a gamer to like live that life and not have any knowledge. Yeah. Because of how much more advertising and everything, and you know, your phone being like, hey, you mentioned Final Fantasy. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my sister's boyfriend. He Destiny fiend. Every time I went to his house, he was always playing Destiny.
Poor man.
Yeah. And then one day I go to their house and I'm like, you're playing Elden Ring? And he's like, oh my God, I've beat it 6 times. Fucking, and he like goes off and I'm like, dude, I never would have thought you would have played Elden Ring.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. There's people like that, you know, they're Destiny, good with it.
Yeah.
3 years, nothing but Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's a wild Hail Mary. They're pulling Elden Ring out and
yeah. Or he like 100%ed Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Nice.
I was like, dude, that took you hours, but he'll stay up till like 5 o'clock in the morning and then fall asleep like on the couch next to his game chair in the living room. And then like once my sister gets up and starts moving around, he'll mosey into the bed. And then
must be nice.
I know, dude. But then like he'll get up in like 2 hours and go to work and like go work being a plumber and then come home, eat dinner, take a nap, and then jump on games at like 9 p.m. and play until fucking 5 o'clock in the morning and just...
I have some friends that do that with Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
And they work full time and everything. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
They're satisfied with 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. I'm like, nah, dude, I need 8 minimum.
They've got to be taking Adderall. They've like something.
I was told I will quote what they said, I'm a tank.
Wow.
Unquote. And I'm like, yes, you are.
It's that G Fuel, baby.
Yeah. They got that dog in them.
Yeah. Oh, straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've probably talked it to, you know, we went all over the place, but...
I was going to say I apologize. I think we went off the rails with the data.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're good. It's all encompassing. It's like...
Yeah. We like talked about it for like 5 minutes and then we instantaneously went.
Well, because it's like the idea of talking about it is like if we derail into how long we spent playing like Elden Ring, that's how we feel about it. Yeah. It's like, you know, we made that decision to forego everything else that came out in that month or two to play Elden Ring. And then everything that came out, like if fucking Mega Man Battle Network fucking Legacy Collection came out and like you wanted to check that out because you played the games on GBA.
Yeah.
But you made the decision not to do that. It's like that game just sits out there and you're like, I don't want them to not make more of those because I didn't buy it. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know the PlayStation Vita?
Yes.
The handheld?
Yeah, you have one, right?
No, that's a PSP.
Oh, then no, I don't.
So I'm one of the people that when the Vita came out, didn't buy it.
Okay.
Was completely unaware that it came out. That was in my like first year of college, or like I was going through a phase where I really stopped playing games, like right after high school. And by the time I got interested in games again and I learned that the Vita was out there, I was like, damn, Resistance Burning Skies and Uncharted Golden Abyss. Like, these are like mainline games that are on this platform that I didn't play and I want to play. And so I did pick up a Vita, but I was super late to it. And by then it was basically dead. And then so I start to look at it like when they put something out there that I'm interested in, I should probably jump on it because I don't want them to not make something or stop supporting it. And it's why like the PlayStation Portal comes out and I'm like, damn, I should cop that because I kind of want them to make another handheld. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, if we say we're interested in this, will they make some other form of like a native handheld gaming system?
Crazy to think how ahead of its time it was.
Yeah.
And it kind of like led to the Switch. Right?
You mean like the PSP or the Vita?
The Vita, yeah. And
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, because I mean the Vita had remote play.
Yeah.
So like I remember playing Fallout 4 on my Vita, like for the novelty of it. Yeah. Like laying in bed, playing it with my like PS4 and TV turned off and just be like, dude, I'm fucking playing Fallout 4 on this. But like that pressure of like you know, they're bringing back Alone in the Dark. Mm-hmm. If I don't buy this, like they might not make another one. Like if it doesn't sell well, like I'm trying to think of like another game that came out. Like if there's like an interesting game that isn't Final Fantasy Rebirth, sometimes like I'll go, I know Final Fantasy Rebirth is going to sell well. So I'm going to make the choice to buy the other game, the, you know, whatever it might be. Like, I guess if I looking at March, there's like Rise of the Ronin, probably going to sell well. Sony second party game, a lot of hype behind it.
Yeah.
But then like Alone in the Dark, probably not going to be on the same level of sales. But that when I'm doing the mental math of like, okay, I only have so much time. I only have so much money. I can really only buy one of these games based on time and money. And I'm interested in both of them. So which one do I think is going to sell well so that I'll buy the other one now to try to support that one a little bit more, which why as a consumer am I thinking about it like that? But I do. It's really, I think it's like the pressure of knowing that there are so many games that the industry like really, when they put something out, they really need people to buy it because they're putting so much money into them. Which it's like, that's their problem thing.
Yeah, but, and you don't want to be penalized for not buying it. Yeah. Even though it might at its core be a good game. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Like, okay, not the greatest. Definitely not the worst. But then EA turned it into a skeleton crew. Yeah. And it, unfortunately, even though people were playing it, it wasn't, the skeleton crew weren't able to keep up with it. Yeah. And that ultimately led to the decline. Yeah. And if you have a single player game or something like that, you don't want that to risk happening if it meant maybe a DLC was planned. Yeah. Like Cyberpunk 2077, that was supposed to come out with 2 DLCs. But because of how poor it did, with all the refunds, they had to scrap the one, and then they just did Phantom Liberty. Got you. Like, I remember a time they did announce 2 DLCs. Wow. And they couldn't do it.
I wonder if they'll... Why? I know that it's off topic a little bit, but I wonder if they'll put out another one at some point and just be like, all right, there's the 2.
They actually will. I don't know if you saw that CD Projekt Red had a video they posted like a year or 2 ago about a 10-year roadmap. They said obviously it's very loose, but they have a Cyberpunk game called Project Orion, I think is what it's codenamed as. And I think it might be Cyberpunk with multiplayer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I feel bad for the creator because, again, of how it was handled in the beginning. Yeah. Because it used to be, it's because Cyberpunk is like a board game. Yeah. But just to be, you know, bamboozled by, hey, this is what it looks like, but that's not how it actually performs on older consoles, which are still very much in the market.
Yeah, that was a train wreck.
Yeah, but I see what you mean with that fear and wanting to support, because it's been shown even a single player game can be affected. Yeah. And then you would lose out on what could be really good content.
Yeah. Like, I remember, I think it was Jeff Ross, one of the guys that worked on Days Gone. Mm-hmm. It was either him or John Garvin said on Twitter that, like, there's no Days Gone 2 because people waited for it to go on sale. Yeah. And didn't buy it at full price. Yep. And, I mean, if there's any truth, I mean, I don't doubt it, because it launched in like with an unstable frame rate and some performance issues. And so I think people held off.
Which is fair.
Yeah, which is fair. And then by the time they fixed it, people had moved on and started playing other things. But those of us that were like, you know what? Like, I am kind of interested in that Days Gone thing. And I saw an article that said it was better now. I'm going to jump in, which is what I did. Mm-hmm. And fucking loved it. Yeah. And so it's like, we know that Days Gone 2 didn't get greenlit. And it's like, how much of it was because people held off on buying it. And so that infects the decision in some weird way.
But at the same time, you as a consumer shouldn't be... It sucks because for the people that were okay with it and had no problem playing it, like, yeah, it hurts them. But you could then argue, like, as a consumer, you shouldn't be forced to play a half-baked or even something that's not 100% polished.
Yeah.
Something like Helldivers with the server issues, okay, that's one thing because they didn't expect it to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
But like a single player game having those issues and stuff like that, it's kind of like a come on now.
Yeah.
Now, which hopefully I think because of the past mistakes, studios are going to do a better job at that. But only time will tell with that.
Yeah.
But it then sucks for someone like you who was very enthusiastic and enjoyed it and wants to see more of it. That won't ever happen.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't feel bad on your end because, again, I think the blame and responsibility is on the developers.
Yeah.
But it just sucks all around.
Yeah. I mean, because there's just too much.
Yeah.
It's like every time I think about, like, when I look at my wish list and I see that there are games that I've added to that wish list in like 2022 that I still haven't bought, I'm like, yeah, at this point, I think I just have to let those go. You know, unless one day I look and it's on sale for $10.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? When I finish playing fucking Darksiders or whatever I'm playing at the time, I think I'm gonna actually buy that, or I think I'll jump in. So let me get this while it's on sale for $10. But then you run into that thing. It's like, well, I guess with deals, is like the publisher agreed to sell it for that cost at that time.
Yeah.
They're trying to get whatever money they can left. So go for it, you know. But there's that weird thing of like, is the smartest thing to do as a consumer, just because of how many games there are, to add things to your wish list and wait for the lowest sale you can, like basically wait until Black Friday and scoop up what you're going to play the next year. You know, like,
yeah,
I'm going to spend $200 on a bunch of games on sale, and that's like, I'll do that Black Friday or like Cyber Monday in 2024, and then all of the games that I bought for that time period I'll play through 2025. Like, that's probably the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
But
I think that's smart 100%, but
it's not fun.
No, and I feel like also that's something that has shifted because of all the games and them being so hit or miss. I feel like in the past, games like didn't go on sale as often.
Yeah,
because there was less games, there was less competitions, and they knew. And to be fair, also the products were more complete, and they would stay $60 all year, and you'd have to wait for Christmas or Black Friday or some New Year's deal or something. But now, if a game doesn't do good, you know in like 3 months it's going to be instantly slashed by 20% or more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. But again, it shows that quality control of like, okay, why are we just pumping out games?
Yeah.
You know, like, I keep coming back to it, but like Baldur's Gate 3, I don't think went on sale for at least the first like 6 months or something. And even if it did, it was a measly like 10% off.
Yeah.
But they knew it was a good game. It was a solid game. They constantly continue to support it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to. Like, that's how it should be, other than, you know, a year from now or Christmas time.
Yeah.
When, okay, it's been a year, you can reduce the price, but...
Yeah. It seems like the really successful games will have like a, like say the retail version is $70, just standard edition. The deluxe might be 80 or 80 maybe to 100.
Yeah.
For the digital deluxe. And they'll discount the digital deluxe version, but not the original.
Yeah, like I think Elden Ring is another one where they stayed at their price for a very long time.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Rightly so. Even I think Horizon.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of games you can look at and be like, okay, wow, this did really well. It definitely shouldn't go on sale.
The weird thing they did with Horizon Forbidden West, though, was like, I think it was like a weird experiment that they were running where they added it to PlayStation Plus, like not essential but extra.
Okay.
As like a monthly, or not a monthly game, but like as a game that if you were paying for the service, you could play it.
Yeah.
And I think it's still up there. So it's like, I think that's why they released it on PC. Or wait, has it come out on PC yet?
I don't think so. I think that's one of the games that Sony is doing the like
Is working
3
on it.
years. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. I
But-
think they are working on the port. Because I know the first one had a pretty rough beginning port.
Yeah.
So I think they're wanting to avoid that.
Yeah.
But because, you know, if it's on Steam, they don't want to, they're already taking 30%. They don't want to risk refunds.
Yeah.
So
There's that really funny footage of child Aloy running around, but like during regular gameplay time. So it's just like little Aloy
that's funny.
fighting, you know, the end boss.
Yeah.
You know?
That's funny.
But before we move on, is there anything else you want to say about
too
there
many
being too
games?
many games?
No, other than I hope times are changing and developers start to do a better job at quality. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think like all but 5 years ago. I feel like the problems that are happening now didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I think people are starting to speak with their wallet more. I know on a personal side from like Total War, I've seen firsthand what the consumer can do by speaking with their wallet and not buying an overpriced DLC. It forced the studio to change leadership and beef up the value of the DLC,
Yeah.
which was impressive to see.
Yeah.
And then their one game that they released, Total War Pharaoh, should have been a $40 game. They marked it up at $60. And then because everybody was like, this is a fucking scam, dude,
Yeah.
they promised with the deluxe edition 2 DLCs, and they knew that they couldn't do that because of how poor the sales were, so they actually refunded people.
Wow.
Which is impressive, I think. They gave people money back, and they're like, we can't commit to this DLC
Wow.
because of how poor the game was.
Yeah.
Which, again, rightfully so.
Yeah. Which is like,
And I hope more studios start to see that and be like, wow, we can actually be affected.
yeah.
So,
And that's a good point because, like, now more than ever, like, people would feel so burnt if they spent money on a game.
edit that out.
If you spent money on a game, especially a full $70
Yeah.
for something that's broken
Yep.
and not functioning right, and you're just having a bad experience, and you're like looking at you like see if like the boys want to play Helldivers, and you see that they're all playing Rise of the Ronin, and like I don't think it's gonna be broken, but like if I bought Alone in the Dark
Yeah.
and I started playing it and it had terrible performance, it was giving me a headache or something weird, and I was like, okay, let me put this down, I can't play this. I wonder if the boys want to play Helldivers, but they're all playing Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck,
And
I
it's
should have
a
bought
feels
Rise of the
bad.
Ronin. Yeah.
It feels bad when you have a life and it's your money and stuff like that. I mean, it's the same. It's no different than if you were to buy something at Walmart and it breaks the next day and you're like, well, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You shouldn't. There's some things that you as a consumer, yes, you should have to research, but there's a lot of other stuff that you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, you're already giving your money. Where do you draw the line at, do I have to give an hour of research before I buy this product? Like, you know, that's not really fair either.
Yeah. That's typically why I'll wait. Mm-hmm. Like, say a game comes out. Typically, they come out on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Sometimes they'll come out on Friday. Mm-hmm. But I'll typically wait until the next weekend before I buy it.
Yeah.
Because then, like, say it comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday, you've got enough time to like see what people are saying, and then like if you've got fast internet, like you get up Saturday morning, you hop on your PS5 or your console, PC or whatever, and you purchase the game and get the download going.
Yeah.
Start making coffee, put some laundry in.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're done with like that first, like, I'll sit down with my coffee, watch like some Gears and Gasoline on YouTube,
Nice.
and then go like, all right, what's up? And then, oh, cool, game's ready. Or you get the notification on your phone, you're like, oh shit, let's go.
Yeah.
And then you run into your room or your office or whatever and play. Like, that's a fun feeling. And like, with balancing everything and like finances and money and everything, it's like, financially it makes way more sense for me to play the over 100 games that I've bought and not beat. But the excitement of playing something new is sometimes what you're spending the money for.
And I've seen that with Helldivers. Like everybody, even like people who I don't view as friends, but like I know them are playing Helldivers, and you want to be part of that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like an ego thing to that as well. Like you want to say, oh, I've done XYZ, or I know ABC is the best and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely helps being off social media and not being exposed to that like actual peer pressure to a degree.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's helped a ton. Like just dealing with FOMO, you know, like I'm not going to get convinced to spend $60 or $70 on a game based on a tweet I saw anymore.
Yeah, and if you never heard of it, it hurts less.
Yes.
Like if you were aware of it and then tried to do it, but you know you couldn't, then you're really like, oh my gosh, I'm in pain. But if you never knew it, then you're like, oh, I missed out on that. Yeah. Okay, but now there's this.
Yes. It's like when I took my big break from gaming after high school. You know, I graduated from high school in 2011. By the time I returned back to gaming in like 2013, I was like, oh shit, a new Elder Scrolls came out?
Nice.
Like, I missed the whole cultural zeitgeist moment of that game. But by the time I got to it, it's funny because I've actually never finished Skyrim.
Same.
But I picked it up and was like, oh shit. Like, dude, it's a whole new Elder Scrolls. Like, because I hadn't played it since Oblivion.
Did you pick up all 11 editions as well?
Dude, I have bought Skyrim so many fucking times.
PS3, PS4, PS5, remastered, super remastered.
Yeah,
There's one
like
on Amazon too.
Yeah, I think I got 360, Xbox One, PlayStation, like PS4, and then I think I ended up paying for the upgrade I think Smart Delivery got me the Series X and S version. But at that point, I'm like, dude, I can't buy this game anymore. It's like it came to Switch, and I'm sitting there going, oh, shit, maybe I should buy it.
Do you have an Alexa?
No.
Because you know you can play Skyrim on that.
On the Alexa?
Yeah, like that wasn't a total prank. I don't know if you remember seeing the ad of like one of the dudes, Key and Peele, like playing Skyrim on the Alexa. So when you ask it, I don't know if it's still there, but I remember in PA playing it, and it's like a narrative thing of, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I fight this person? Do I not? And then it like will tell you what happened.
That's wild.
Like, I'm gonna fight this mud crab. Oh, I died. Like, you're like, okay, but then you can like restart.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Damn, I wonder how far it goes.
I don't know. I think I died fairly early fighting a bandit, and I never tried it again.
Gotcha.
Because why sit there talking to my Alexa when I could go play a game?
Yeah, when you could play actual Skyrim.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was free.
Okay. Damn.
But maybe that's because I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Who knows?
They got you.
Yeah. I think it's Skyrim Super Special Edition or some meme.
Oh, okay. Well, we can move on to facts and feelings.
Facts and feelings.
Facts and feelings. It's our news segment.
Very special edition.
Oh my god, yeah, there it is.
Thing.
Holy shit. But the first item is dude, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door remake. And we talked about Luigi's Mansion last week.
Yes.
Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster got announced that they're coming to Switch, and I wanted to bring it up because Paper Mario 1000 Years Door is a really expensive GameCube game now. Really? Yeah, and I remember I got it for my GameCube when I was a kid, and it was like really hard for me. Like I think I was still in that age where like if there wasn't voice acting in a game, I just pressed A and didn't read anything. Oh yeah. Just like let me get back to the fighting. Like that was me with Pokemon. Almost most of my life playing Pokemon games, I never used to read what was happening. But then I would get lost and not know what to do, and it's my own fault. Yeah. And I think that happened with 1000 Year Door, but it is apparently like a really great game and a great example of one of those games where I'm like, okay, am I gonna dust off the Switch to play 1000 Year Door and pay $60 for it? I mean, like, I would like to revisit that and see if I can actually go back and play and beat it. But who knows what's going to come out around it. But I'm really excited. Are you familiar with those at all? No. Okay.
Sorry. I only have a desire to play Luigi's Mansion. So I heard it's a really fun multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And I heard it's like a crazy hidden gem.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played any of them. Is there a third one out, or is it like coming out?
Yeah, 3 is out.
Okay.
They're probably ramping up for a 4th, I would
Okay.
imagine, to make another one. But it seems like now they're like starting to go back and port. Like they brought Metroid Prime. They're going to bring Prime 2 back. I think they're like starting to go back to like old GameCube and like Wii games and bring them to Switch.
Yeah.
Because I think Switch is going to be the foundation for like what PS4 means for PlayStation, and that like this digital library will always be accessible to you for the rest of the generations. I think Switch is that for Nintendo.
So this Mario is like OG pixel 2D.
No, this Paper Mario is like literally the idea is like it's like almost like cut out pieces of paper.
Oh, is that
Characters?
the one where you like can build your levels, or?
No, that's Mario Maker.
Okay.
Yeah, Paper Mario is like it's a full-on story, but it's like a turn-based combat thing.
Oh, that's
so
pretty cool.
It's almost like if Nintendo looked at what Final Fantasy was doing, or like any turn-based RPG,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, let's make our own. But
Sounds pretty cool.
yeah, no, it's rad. It's almost like Super Mario RPG, like the next evolution from that, where they were like, okay, we're gonna make it stylistically different.
Okay.
And so they made another Paper Mario game, which is also apparently really good, called the Origami King. Excuse me, I'm holding back a burp. We scarfed that pizza right before we recorded. But out of those 2 games, I'm definitely leaning more towards Paper Mario, and I think I'll actually probably take the plunge on that one. I think it comes out in May. Here, it's in that article. Let me pull it up really quick.
Now, you say you'll take the plunge, but let me ask you.
Yeah.
Have you finished Zelda?
Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah.
Haven't even started it.
When did that game come out?
Last May, I think. Yeah, Thousand Year Door comes out May 23rd of this year, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD comes out June 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, dude, I mean, that's the art style.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you have like, it's party based, so you have like a party with you, and it has a story, and it's pretty rad.
I like it's like the 2D, 3D, like because of the backdrop and everything, it adds depth to the...
Yes, and like you can move up and down while moving to the left or right, but it all does take place on like a plane like that of like layered pieces of paper, very like animated.
It looks
style.
Cool for sure, because again, I never really grew up with Mario or had a desire to play that type of genre. Yeah. But if this is going to be more of like a party-based RPG, then potentially.
Yeah.
I don't have a Switch anymore. I used to, but I would only ever play or buy Luigi's Mansion if friends came over to play it, because again, I heard it was, although I heard just in general it's a fun game, but I think it's got like a lot of multiplayer aspects apparently.
Yeah, I think it has like a couch co-op mechanic. Yeah.
I played Mario Party with friends.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
Yeah, Mario Party's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I would love to have like a game night with everybody. Like we have movie night every week. I would love to have a game night, and it's like Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. Like basically just use the Nintendo for that.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how many players can play Mario Party?
I think they actually decreased it to 6.
Oh, okay.
I think it used to be 8. Or maybe it was 4 on N64 and then GameCube. Because it used to come down to controller ports.
Okay.
But I think like through like the splitting of Joy-Cons and stuff, I forget the player count, to be honest.
I'm gonna look it up. That would be cool. I'm assuming there'll be another Mario Party at some point.
Yeah. I forget when the last one came out, like what number we're on, but yeah, Mario Party was always fun growing up. I remember there was an N64.
Mario Party Superstars, I guess, is the newest one.
Yeah, that sounds right. There was an N64 and a McDonald's in a town in Florida that I grew up in.
It says Mario Party, Super Mario Party was released October 5th, 2018.
Okay.
So they're due for...
Yeah. How many players?
Oh, Mario Party Superstar came out in 2021.
Okay.
So I guess that was the... Let's see how many players. If I can find it quickly.
But like, how many players can play? How?
Up to 4.
Up to 4?
That's lame.
Yeah, because that would be like...
offline.
Oh, yeah, I bet online they can play more. Because of the allowable controller ports, they're probably bypassing that by being like, bring your Switch or your Switch Lite over to my place, and we'll add a 5th, 6th, 7th player that way. But like, what I wonder is, can 4 people play on one Switch and then another Switch join in and 4 people be playing off of that Switch and have 8 total players?
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah, if 2 people had Switches, could you, like, I guess join each other's match or something?
Yeah, because you could just play over your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have 8 players.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be something I'll have to try that
to
out
look
this
into.
summer, yeah.
Yeah. But the next story that I wanted to bring up is the Starbreeze studio.
Yes.
Their CEO was removed following Payday 3's poor performance.
Yes.
And I know you had some experience with Payday, so I wanted to kind of run it by you.
Yeah, I haven't played Payday 3 yet. I won't buy it unless it's on sale, which that was a game, conveniently enough, that went on sale fairly quickly.
Yeah.
It came out with like 3 editions, and one of the editions gave you, I think the silver one gave you like some pre-order bonus, all that fun stuff, and then the gold edition, which was like at least $100 or $120, gave you like year 1 season pass.
Okay.
Which was already a little weird because I think Payday 2 did it well, where yes, they made you buy for all the individual DLC, but like they were solid. Like you're paying $10 for a brand new level.
Yeah.
And each level you can run different ways. So like it seemed like fairly decent value. Mm-hmm. And then you could buy like weapon packs or even character packs and stuff like that. And they were all reasonably priced. I know with, first of all, Payday 3 coming out with online only. Yikes.
Yeah.
You know, like you can play the game with bots. Maybe not the most extreme difficulties with AI bots, but you could always play Payday 2 solo with bots. And for not having that in Payday 3, big yikes for a lot of people.
Heard.
Again, server issues just like every other game, and latency and people not being able to connect and stuff. So you're like, okay, cool. And then you have the issue of where apparently the progression system was ungodly grindy.
Oh, shit.
So instead of it being like XP based, it was like heist based. So if you wanted to like max out something, you would have to run 150 heists. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like I might do that over the course of like 3 years. But like if I want this thing now, like that's insane.
Yeah.
I will give them credit though. Their heists are way more comprehensive in Payday 3.
Okay.
So they are way more vertical. There's a lot more avenues to do stuff. Whereas before it was, do I want to go guns a-blazing or do I want to be kind of stealthy? And then unless you were like really prepared, you really couldn't do the whole heist stealthy. And some heists you couldn't even do stealthy to begin with.
Wow, okay.
Just because of the way they were set up. This one, I think the base game came with like only 7 or 9 heists, which sure is a small amount, but it was expected it would grow. But like I said, the heists at its core had a lot more customization and flexibility on how you tackled that problem, which was cool.
Yeah.
But you know, as a consumer, are there too many games? I just paid $60 for a broken game that I can't even play because of my internet. I'm gonna go play Payday 2 again.
Yeah.
So same thing happened with Black Flag and Skull and Bones. Okay, the predecessor is poopy. Like I'm just gonna go play Payday 2, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about the CEO and what they might have been pushing or not.
Yeah.
I know a lot of stuff with the CEO of Techland, who made Dying Light 2.
Oh, yeah.
And how he apparently was not the best CEO. Like, basically, he wanted everything copy and pasted from The Witcher.
Oh, shit.
Because he viewed it as successful.
Yeah.
So if it worked, then I want that type of thing in my game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
well, I pulled it up here really quick to see what they said. It says, in a notice to investors, the Stockholm headquartered developer said that it needs a different leadership following a difficult period of instability in the wake of Payday 3's launch. Jurgen Goldner, I guess, has been appointed as interim CEO. He joined the board of Starbreeze in 2023 and said, in quote, "The company has a clear strategy centered around creating attractive games on our own and licensed IPs." And this is from Starbreeze chairman Torgny Hellstrom.
strong name.
Hell of a strong name. He says the board's consolidated assessment is that the execution of strategy needs a different leadership. And I'm trying to see. It looks like it came down to major server issues, with Starbreeze blamed on problems with external matchmaking software marred the co-op game's late September release.
Yep. Also, Payday 3 was in development hell for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, they were making the game, and they were having a hell of a problem getting money to even make Payday 3, which is crazy because of, like, the insane amount of DLC that is from Payday 2.
Wow.
Like, there is a metric fuck ton of DLC for Payday 2. And it's just crazy to think that, like, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
They needed more from investors.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And it's just like these other games. It's just disappointing to see what a studio can do, and then you're just like scratching your head, like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Here.
I wonder if that's like a COVID, like, overstaffing thing where they had too many people working on Payday 3. So that by the time it came out, the budget was so bloated that
I'm sure that didn't help. Yeah.
Yeah. That they really felt it or really needed some extra investment.
And then I know from what I saw with their stream, because they're doing a new season or something, like season med bag, which is like an item. Funny, haha, we're healing the game.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been fucking broken in the first place, but
yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were super impressed. They said that, obviously they're going to work on offline. And then they came out with a DLC, and it was $15 for the heist, and that obviously upset a lot of people. But again, the heists at their core are significantly better. In the past, you're paying $10. We're talking years ago. Now you're paying $15. Is it really that bad? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all that psychological, like, ooh, this number hurts my smooth brain, but this number doesn't. You know what I mean? Like $19.99. Oh, that's a fucking deal. $20, no can do. Like,
yeah, that weird bullshit. Yeah. It's funny because, like, in certain ways, like it's why you typically don't see something cost like whatever $150.
Yeah,
like they usually just round up to the nearest, like, 99, because it's just, we see 50 and we go, oh, no.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah, nothing would ever be priced $550.
Yeah.
They're going to, like, which is weird, though, because I think, like, isn't the PS5 digital, like, $450?
Maybe.
As opposed to, I forget.
I think people bitched about the price on that because they all went up like $100.
Oh, yeah.
I think but again, like, you're talking about 4 or 5 years after.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But
yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I do hope Payday 3, that is a game I would love to play with enough content and if it's fixed.
Yeah. I think I saw it on sale, like, yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Which, I mean, If you want to play it, I'd be down. I would only buy it if other people were to play it.
Yeah.
I
think I'm gonna pass on Payday.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it anytime soon.
Yeah.
But if in a year, maybe.
Yeah.
It might be better.
I remember I got Payday 2 on PS3.
Okay.
Through PlayStation Plus.
Nice.
A long time ago, and it's one of those games. Whenever I turn on my PS3 and I go to like my game, like part on the cross media bar and start scrolling, the theme music starts playing immediately.
Yeah.
And it's like this like really loud
like bass.
Yeah.
Bassy, yeah.
And I'm always like, oh shit, fucking Payday, god damn it. Yeah. That's my relationship with that game. I think I played it for like 30 minutes or something.
Oh damn. It's a good game. It's a good staple extraction shooter.
Cool. Okay.
And it's fun, when you're playing on higher difficulties and there's a fucking dude in a bomb jacket, like flak vest.
Yeah.
And his fucking name is a killdozer. And
that's cool.
He's screaming at you with a minigun saying, "Get on the ground, asshole." Like, it's pretty intense, and there's like fucking cops coming around from helicopters and flooding the map and shit. And
damn.
There's just, you're over here trying to crack open a vault. You're trying to keep your hostages in line. You're getting fucking flashbanged, and you're trying to prevent them from taking the hostages. Oh, your drill just broke. Now you got to repair it. Like, it's fun chaos.
Damn.
It's very fun chaos.
And Payday 3 didn't have any of it, I guess.
I mean, had to be online.
Yeah.
So you couldn't. I mean, it's definitely, like I said, fun with players. And then you gotta bag up the loot. And like I know there's one really decent heist where once you crack open the vault, you then have to lockpick every fucking lockbox in the thing, which is tedious. But you never know, and that lockbox might be gold bars. And you single-handedly throwing that in the escape van, that's $45,000 you just netted.
Damn.
Like, and you're just like, this is worth. Sure, I'm moving at a snail's pace, but I need the money. You know what I mean? And then money gets you new guns, and it's just like, it's a very fun loop.
Gotcha.
Gameplay loop.
Yeah. So, I guess when you launch in, sorry, I know where this is just evolving into a conversation about Payday, but when you go into a match, do you know what kind of vault you're going to be cracking into, or do you just crack it open and go, fuck, it's deposit boxes?
Well, that's the other fun thing is, like, at the core, most of the heists, like, are laid out, but there is some procedural generation, and then you can plan.
Oh, okay.
So you can pay extra for maybe, like, a weapon drop, or for somebody to not be there, like a guard, and they would be there, or access to the cameras.
Got you.
To then allow you to then do it slightly differently.
Got you.
And it's just enough to be like, okay, this is fun, this is different,
Yeah.
I can see what I'm progressing towards.
Heard.
And what you're progressing towards is cool because it's skills that'll help you, and it's guns to obviously, make maybe the next mission easier.
Yeah.
Or cooler.
Damn. That actually sounds dope. I'm like, damn, why did Payday 3 have to suck?
Maybe we play Payday 2 one day.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, damn, this is fun. Just play it for a day, and you're like, damn, I can see how this is addictive.
Boot up the PS3?
Yeah.
Is your phone okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Got an OtterBox.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a brick.
The next story, there's two stories kind of linked to it. So, Saber Interactive left the Embracer group. And I pulled a story from IGN. Saber Interactive, I think, is a publisher that got acquired by Embracer, who is also a publisher, because there are studios underneath the Saber Interactive umbrella. The main one I think everybody thinks of is Aspire. That's working on the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
I think Saber is publishing the new Space Marine 2 game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there might be... I think there's a list of... Yeah, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 screenshots are on here. So
that's pretty hype for people, so...
Yeah, the article says... Saber Interactive has split from Embracer with at least 38 ongoing game development projects among the divested assets and over 3,000 staff moving across. However, a number of key studios remain at Embracer, including Tripwire, Aspire, and Beamdog. So I guess when they divested, they took what they wanted, is what that sounds like to me.
Now, is Embracer as, like, Boogeyman as Tencent?
No.
Okay.
No, I think
Tencent's the Chinese one, right?
Yes,
that
yeah.
deals more with mobile games.
Yeah, and they're really linked to the CCP, which is cause for concern in terms of like, do you really want your money going to the Chinese government?
Because it's either them or maybe Embracer that also has like a stake in Warframe.
Yeah.
And I think when that was announced, a lot of people were like, uh-oh.
Well, the sketchy thing for me with Embracer is that I'm pretty sure, and the same goes for Nintendo, so keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. The Saudi wealth fund that they also invested in Embracer.
Human rights
and
violations.
Yes, yeah, but they also have like a really large stake in Nintendo.
What the?
Yeah, and they like own SNK that makes like really awesome. I think it's fighting games. Huh. But like,
I guess that oil money isn't enough.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're almost like Silk Roading their way into a lot of other things, which is kind of concerning. Because like, you just have to like. I mean, I have nothing against the people; it's the governments.
Absolutely, and you're afraid of that. I mean, it's a bad ideology in a modern day world.
Yeah, when you have public beheadings for people, that's a bridge too far.
And just, a government that's okay with civil or human right violations, and you're like,
Yeah. So, I think that's a problem with Embracer, but what Embracer made the critical error of acquiring way too much to the point where they cannot manage it, and ever since then you have seen them
was it a slow burn?
Slowly unravel.
Was it like a slow burn of buildup, or did they swoop up a ton of shit during COVID times?
They basically swooped up a bunch of shit during COVID time. And where Embracer got really in trouble is that I think, if I remember correctly, what happened was they got a bunch of money from... They were promised or in talks with the Saudi royal family to get a bunch of money. And so they made a bunch of investments. And then the Saudis, I think, backed out. And then they... basically probably took out loans and spread themselves way too thin, and now they're divesting and selling a bunch of stuff off.
Well, I mean, that's good in terms of less empty promises.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for all the people, like Sony's laying off like 900. I think last year we saw Square Enix trim all of their Western studios.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping as womp womp as it is, like, it sucks for all those people losing their jobs. Hopefully it results in, better products.
Yeah, I think not last year, not 2023, but 2022 at the tail end, Square Enix was pumping out a ton of games. Just stepping on their own toes, putting games out right next to one another. And if I remember correctly, that was around the time like Live Alive came out and like Triangle Strategy.
I think the Marvel game. Wasn't it Square Enix that did that Avengers game?
I think so, yeah. And it wasn't Triangle Strategy. It was which it did come out that year if I remember correctly, but really the Dio Field Chronicle. Like, they were dropping a lot of games where it's like the audience for these games doesn't have time to play everything you're putting out all in 1 month or 2 months. And I think, because recently Square Enix said that they were changing their strategy after Rebirth comes out.
Well, yeah, I hope, from seeing the Square Enix CEO at FanFest, unfortunately also the last CEO really fucking went off the rails with NFTs. Just like everybody did, and I think that hurt them as well. Yeah.
I think probably what they're going to focus on right now is Kingdom Hearts 4. Nice. It's probably their next big... like Final Fantasy 16 Rebirth size, like, scope project.
Yeah.
He's probably finishing that up. And then I would imagine that they're having sections of their studios under the Square Enix umbrella work on like Triangle Strategy 2, or like whatever was a big success in those spaces, like the 2D HD space, the like the little offshoots within Square Enix that do really well.
Yeah.
I think that they'll like have a couple of those going, but then the main focus, like, they're not going to have Final Fantasy 16 happening at the same time as Rebirth, at the same time that Kingdom Hearts 4 is supposed to be in development.
Yeah.
I think that might be what they're trying to do with rethinking their strategy, because I think they probably had too many projects going on all at once. And basically when they were like, we need to trim these, like, our budget.
Yeah.
They were like, fuck it, put all the games out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just get them all out there. And then if they had layoffs, probably laid off who they had to, or put people on projects to get Final Fantasy. You know how like a bunch of teams, like the Kingdom Hearts team was working on 16.
Yeah.
Like they probably just had all hands on deck. Like, let's finish up these projects and then take it from there.
That's probably also why they're working on moving their whole Final Fantasy catalog to Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm sure to help alleviate some of the money bleeding that they've dealt with over the past couple of years, and to just open up another revenue source.
Yeah.
Because that was a big, like I said, I'm excited to see what this new CEO does, because I think he is significantly younger than the last one.
Yeah.
I think he's like 40 something. But again, the last CEO, like everybody else, was very into NFTs.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, stop.
Who gives a fuck about NFTs, dude?
But like whoever the CEO, Phil Spencer, that's who it is.
Yeah.
You know, he came out with Yoshi P and the CEO, and I think there's other pictures of like the CEO or team members like doing some pretty cool. They went to like some shrine in Japan for some ritualistic like good omen thing. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
But it's nice
like
to
a sign
see
of
that.
good faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Like get any bad spirits away from everybody. It's a pretty interesting thing.
Yeah.
And then because Phil Spencer also is kind of a funny looking dude.
Yeah.
So being around a bunch of Japanese people, and he's like this American with his.
It's like it's funny because I'm sure Phil Spencer is a cool dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he talks out of the sides of his mouth so much that in my head I call him Puxatani Phil.
Yeah, and he talks like this is his mannerism.
He
when he's
talks
talking.
like a groundhog.
Yeah.
He has, so that's why I call him that, because
I am so happy to
like anything he says, I'm like, this doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Just like when Puxatani Phil comes out and says that he saw his shadow and so there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, I'm like, nothing Phil Spencer says I believe.
When he came out on the stage on FanFest and he's talking, he's like, I am so happy to announce the partnership with Square Enix. And it's just like this weird
eyes closed.
Basically, like real squinty and
just
like, this is a miracle. And it was just so funny. He was pretty uncomfortable, you could tell. He also didn't get a lot of applause, I guess, evil boss Phil Spencer. But
well, I'm sure that Xbox, I mean, they've always had a bad reputation in Japan. Just like people aren't interested.
Well, it doesn't look good when during the acquisition, Square Enix was on that list.
Yeah.
Too. So that's kind of funny. Like literally a couple months before that, you were like a juicy plate for them to eat up, and then here they are announcing a partnership because you couldn't buy them or
they wouldn't sell.
Oh yeah, they're too big.
Yeah, Square Enix would that would be a thing where like if the deal would be contingent, almost very similar to Bungie, of like, we have to be multi-platform.
Mm-hmm.
They would, I'm sure the clause in their contract would be like, we have to be multi-platform. But in terms of what Xbox would want to do is they would want Square Enix to be exclusive to Game Pass to get people there,
which they're way too big to do anything like that. And I mean, they're a staple studio. People
would riot in the streets if they had to go buy an Xbox or build a PC to have Game Pass so that they could play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Xbox instead of PlayStation.
But I hope, by them fostering that relationship, it prevents what happened with 16. Yeah. Where it was so expensive of a game to make, and because, it's only on PlayStation and PC?
Rebirth?
No, 16.
Oh, yeah, it came out on PC?
Maybe not even PC yet, is it really only PS5?
I think so.
So then, if it's this insanely expensive game, you're like, again, why wouldn't you open that funnel? And they talked about how they weren't satisfied. They just broke even because of how expensive the game was. And it's like, well, you probably wouldn't have if it was available on PC and Xbox.
The PC version is in the final stages of optimization, and that's of March 11th of this year.
But still, just imagine, like, we're like definitely at least one fiscal quarter, two almost at this point, since it came out.
Yeah, because we were playing it we were playing it in summer.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be 3 fiscal quarters before they open up another funnel or open up that tap for more revenue.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's not fair to the developers just because they were so like exclusive.
Yeah.
Because I love Yoshi P to death, and I don't think him or his team should be penalized for making an expensive game.
Yeah.
And then the shareholders aren't happy. Oh, we just broke even. We wanted more money.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have opened up all the faucets then.
Yeah. But I think the strategy is release it exclusive on a platform where people buy games.
Yeah.
And most of the market share is there.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can scoop up that first wave.
Yeah, and that's fair.
I think probably the smartest idea if you were a developer or a publisher would be to go exclusive to PlayStation, console exclusive to PlayStation and PC, day and date.
Yeah.
Scoop up as much money as possible, and then when the sales have really petered off, make a deal with Xbox to bring it to Game Pass.
Well, so I want to ask you with that. I mean, is that how Xbox is nowadays, where every new game is always on Game Pass? Like, does it leave no room for the publisher and the developer to make an agreement saying, look, we don't want this on Game Pass?
No, they definitely... You submit your games for consideration. And...
because I don't know I wouldn't see why a developer would want to do that unless they're getting a shit ton of money right up front.
The big thing is that the market share is much lower on Xbox.
Oh, really? It's that much lower.
And I believe that there has to be telemetry that suggests that people on Xbox are hardly buying games anymore. And they're just playing what's on Game Pass.
Okay.
And so I think that when you think about the development costs of making a game, ensuring that a game runs on Xbox and all the button prompts are set up with the right icons and everything, getting all of that set up and optimizing it for the console based on its specifications. And then they think, okay, we're going to sell this a la carte on Xbox. I think that most studios look at that as being a gamble. Whereas if they make a deal to bring it to Xbox or to bring it to Game Pass, they could recoup all of that cost and maybe even some more.
Yeah.
And then also sell it to the few people that don't have Game Pass.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it's a weird strategy, but you see it happen a number of times where it's like, okay, it does seem like a good way to just like scoop up one last good grab of money is to be like, bring it to Game Pass.
Yeah, because Xbox has to be giving enough money for anybody to consider that deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever money they're putting on the table has to be worth it to them to think, okay, this is the better deal because realistically, in 2 months, 3 months, we probably will be selling hardly any units.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know, like I said, how that was. If it is that, I guess it is really that few people that are buying games.
Yeah.
So, and I know, like, not trying to be console wars here, but like we all know that PlayStation won.
Yeah.
During the PS4 era, and that helped them set up for PS5.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it was that much of an impact, though.
Yeah.
That PlayStation is the consoles of where people are buying games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's the really tough thing about introducing Game Pass, is especially with day and date games.
Yeah.
When they started putting all their first party games there, they really gambled big on like, let's get as many people into this service.
Yeah.
So that once the fucked up thing with Game Pass is it functions like a library. that like you pay for your library card so that you can go and you can check out whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah.
But if you do that long enough, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So you need the service to have a library of games, because if you subscribe and just buy games on that platform, that's all you've got. And the gamble is, if we entice people with this monthly fee, we'll have day and date first party games. We'll make deals to bring games like Sea of Stars and stuff day one release on the platform. Persona 3 Reload day one on Game Pass. Like, will people see that and at the next console generation change? Will they go here because they can buy a comparable console for $500 and just pay for Game Pass and get cool games?
Yeah.
And still buy their Call of Duties every year and still buy Madden or 2K, whatever their sports game is, or whatever that one thing, their annualized franchise, they'll check it out. And I don't think it worked.
Oh yeah, no.
Because the PS4 really, that was the generation where you established your true digital library.
Yeah.
And personally, like, one, I gravitate towards PlayStation first, the same reason why I gravitate towards single player games instead of live service.
Yeah.
It's just like, really, if I boiled it down to something, it would be that I think of Sony as an arts business, where like the things they do, they make movies, they're in music, and they're in games, and in all of those fields, they make really top of the line hardware to be able to enjoy all of those things. Yeah. And I think of Microsoft as a services company, or like a software company. Yeah. And yeah, they make Xbox, but when it comes to like their first party games, and the stuff that they fund and get behind, your thumbs downing it. To me, while some are really cool and really rad, they are not. Sony almost has, like, with their first party studios, almost has like an A24 vibe about them, where like what they're doing just seems higher brow. Oh yeah, in a way. I mean, I know that that's subjective, but like I've not seen anything that Xbox has even looming on the horizon that I look at the way I look at like The Last of Us or.
Well, and that's why it's impressive, like, because again, like, they won the console war during the PS4 era, and I think that helped them with all the supply chain issues. I mean, it was a solid year before people got PlayStation 5s.
Yeah, except your boy, I had that day one.
I had to wait a whole year. That was crazy. I don't know if people are still waiting or if it's an issue anymore, but like people were willing to wait because they knew, well, if the PS4 was this fucking good, the PS5 is going to be just as good.
Yeah, and I mean, nowadays, every time I go into one of the big box stores, I see PS5s. Okay. But I also see Series X's. I think they're there. They're if you want one, you can get one.
Absolutely.
We are at that point. But sorry, I know we kind of derailed. We started talking about Saber Interactive in the Embracer Group, but I'm going to fly through a couple of bullet points.
Try to give a couple sentence answers.
After Saber Interactive separated from Embracer Group, concerns about the projects that were in development arose, and they did come out and say that Star Wars KOTOR remake is not coming out for over a year. Ooh. Yeah, which I have no faith in anymore. Yeah. But we'll see. I know that some people look at everything that's happening with them optimistically, but I'm not following it that closely. I just see trouble for this game, and which is sad because I know a lot of people like KOTOR. Do you have any experience with KOTOR? Are you looking forward to this game?
No, the one Star Wars, right? The Star Wars game. The Star Wars game I'm looking forward to is Outlaws.
Oh yeah,
if that's still a thing.
I forget if that project is still underway or not.
That's the one that's supposed to be like open world and shit, which sounds really cool.
Yeah, I forget what's going on with that.
But Knights of the Old Republic, always looked cool because I think the big bad was Darth Nihilus or something. If it's the one I'm thinking of with the mask with the split in it. Because Darth Nihilus is like just not even a real person. He's just like legit fucking Sith energy of like the Force, and he's like a vampire too. He can just like drain your fucking life. If that's the face that I'm thinking of, that's on the cover.
Yeah. Outlaws is coming out.
Okay, nice. That's the one by EA, I think.
Ubisoft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ubisoft is making that. KOTOR. Here, I'll pull that up. I think it's Darth Revan.
Oh yeah,
I think it's
not
that guy's name.
Nihilus, so yeah.
Yeah. But I remember I think I had KOTOR 2 on the original Xbox. But all I remember was like being in a mine and like having to run around and it was like you had to do what you had to do to get out of the mine, and I don't think I ever got out. I got bored.
It's an MMO, right?
No.
Maybe I'm thinking
it's a like
Old Republic or something. I don't know. There was a Star Wars game that was like an MMO or something.
Yeah, I had a buddy that played it on PC.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of that has the cover of. It's like some people, and then it's the big mask in the background. But
yeah, I forget what that.
One of them distinctively had Nihilus or whatever the hell his name is.
I'm gonna look up.
Like looming over the other people. And one of them had Star Killer. I think that's the one where you actually played as him.
It was Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Okay, yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck game I'm thinking of.
That was a BioWare game.
That's insane.
Yeah. Which I think Knights of the Old Republic was a BioWare game as well, but the next news story I pulled was there's an upcoming Sea of Stars update that's adding 3-player co-op, which I'm not necessarily sure how that's going to work, but hell yeah, Sea of Stars is awesome. That in the studio was really nice to me when I did my demo. And they like wrote or responded to like after my interview and said that I was like really professional, and that felt really nice because it was the first time I did anything like that.
Oh yeah.
But I took notes, I did my homework, and when I have on my computer early development footage.
Of Sea of Stars.
Yeah, probably like a year before it came out.
Damn, that's cool.
Development footage of that game, and like most of it is what is in the game. But what I did was I was so afraid that I was not going to be able to take notes and write everything down that was happening in a way that I could go back and write a good story off of. So I used OBS to screen record the entire demo.
Damn.
So that I could go back through it and write my article and be more descriptive and have like a next level thing. But the only people I told were the people at the website I wrote for. Oh. And I told them like months later. I was like, we had like a monthly meeting, and I was like, hey, is it okay that I did this? And they were like, no, but as long as you don't ever mention it, which
breaking like NDA stuff.
I didn't sign an NDA. Yeah, no, it was just an agreement, but I never posted it anywhere. It was literally just for me to be able to right. And the thing that sucks is you can't hear me ask my questions. So I had to remember based on the answers I was given what I asked.
Shit.
And but they were super nice, and that's part of the reason why I never uploaded it, because I could have uploaded that for clout, because that footage, I could have leaked that, but nope, it's just on my computer.
It's crazy to think. So it didn't have like couch co-op before?
No.
Sea of Stars, huh?
Nope, just single player.
So I guess you'll be able to play as both of the characters then?
Yeah, I would imagine that. Yeah, you can probably control both, or whatever 3 players are in the. Because like when you have like maybe like 6 people in your party at any time, as you progress through the game, you get more. Yeah. And people come and go in classic RPG fashion, but I
wonder how it's going to be in the beginning though.
The top 3 in your party will kind of follow you. Okay. So I would imagine those 3 can run all around the space.
Yeah.
And navigate on their own. What I wonder is afterwards. It probably works like
And like in the beginning, though, there's only the 2.
Yeah.
So do you have to be at a certain point, I'm assuming, or
Yeah, I don't know.
or they just throw in like a dummy character?
They might just throw in a dummy character.
Okay.
But I guess like in the early game, it is like, shit, I'm blanking on their names now. It's
Yeah, I don't know their names. That's the brother
guy-
and sister, right?
the guy, then Valerie or Valere. I'm not sure which one it is, and then Garl. So there is 3 people from pretty much Jump Street.
Oh, that's right. The dude with the backpack.
Yes,
kid
the
with
cook.
okay.
Who doesn't love Garl? But yeah, I would imagine that like you each take turns attacking and making your choices, and if you want to swap to someone else in the party, that would be up to you. But like what would bug me is if I was playing a couch co-op and somebody was making dumb decisions with their turn, and being like, no, because like you have to be fucking. It's some of the late game stuff. You have to be on it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, dude, I fucking loved Sea of Stars. That talk about a game that goes very similar to like Forbidden West, goes places you would never expect it to go, and is so cool. I know. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Maybe this weekend I'll finally get off my butt and swap my TV.
Yeah.
Because that's why I stopped playing it, is because in the very beginning it is pretty dark, and I like couldn't see half the screen. I'm like, what the hell?
Dude, you gotta. I can't. One day, please take a picture of your TV and like running a game and send it to me. I want to see.
Oh yeah, I can show you. I'll definitely.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll show you what it looks like. I'll send you texts. Sea of Stars, because in the beginning it's like a very blue color palette.
Yeah.
And at night, I got to the first night, and then I was like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Even Steel Rising is kind of aggravating, and if I want to stream, I'm going to have to fix it, because...
Yeah. You're going to need to be able to see.
That's why night missions on Helldivers is a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a bitch already.
Even, yeah.
I crank up the brightness.
I can't see half my screen.
Speaking of Helldivers, I got kind of 3 little side stories here. One, Arrowhead released a new premium war bond.
Oh yeah.
A patch came out that added fire tornadoes and a laser rifle,
which is cool because we experienced the meteor shower for the first time.
Yeah.
And as probably aggravating as fuck as that must have been for you to get blasted by a meteor, that was pretty cool extra level to deal with, because it was killing bugs too.
Yeah, it was.
So the fact that it was indiscriminately just killing was pretty cool.
Pelting everybody.
Yeah.
There are flying bugs now.
Which bugs don't fly, but yeah.
Apparently the developers are trying to say that that's propaganda.
Yeah.
Or it's fake news, which is hilarious that they're playing it on that level.
I love that, yeah.
And apparently there's a really cool story about essentially a Let Me Soloer guy that's a level 50 that is only responding to SOS beacons across all difficulties and helping people.
Nice.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Just this guy that's like showing up and like helping just
just
wipe
anybody.
out. Yeah. I don't know. See, like Helldivers is one of those games where on like a Saturday or like whatever, maybe like a Sunday at like a certain point in the day, like maybe the afternoon, like a Sunday from like noon to 4 o'clock, I would like to just sit down and just grind in Helldivers.
Absolutely.
That would be...
There's still a lot of stuff from the last patch.
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten to deep dive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, you like we were talking about earlier, you really have to like set some time aside.
Because apparently the new like Laz sickle or something is really good.
Yes.
I want to see what that new enhancement, reducing enemy encounters, that seems crazy.
Yeah. And that's in the new war pond, right?
Yeah. I also want to know, I don't know if this is like an internet meme or not, but I was seeing a lot of people complaining about the premium war bond, which everybody should have known that it was coming. But apparently, like, obviously, because of how good the game was in the beginning, people were upgrading to the deluxe edition just to give money to the devs. But I guess there's maybe it's a loud minority group of players that are just bitching about forking over $10 for a premium war pass, and it's just like, but if you've been playing this entire time, you should have the super credits for free.
Yeah,
and it's not
if
like
you weren't spending them on all of the different armor sets in the store.
And it's not like the last premium war bond is going away. Like it's all stacking onto each other, so there is no FOMO.
Yeah,
which is
I think
so good.
There
again, I don't know how true this loud group of people is. I'm sure it's a small group, but
I think that there's a big disconnect between those that like have comprehension and like critical thinking skills, and those that they see a game add something and they look at it and go, ew, microtransactions, and don't think about it more than that.
They're just hating on popular shit.
And then, just go and complain about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, like, it's a $40 game.
Already really impressive.
If you bought both war bonds, it's only $60.
Which the deluxe gave you the one already.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which would have been $20 for the war bond and some extra stuff.
Yeah.
And like, which I only upgraded because I was like, damn, this kicks ass.
Yeah.
I would have given them $60 if they charged me. I might as well get the bonuses.
I might even fork over some money just for the armor and just having another gun to my collection, the Defender.
And the Super Citizen thing. Which is weird because I took it off the other day because I started to be like, oh man, like, is that like a symbol of like, shit, like how do I phrase it? Like it's almost cooler to just have paid the $40 and be like really cool, like good at the game, rather than pay $60, have the cool Super Citizen logo, and then kind of suck.
I mean, but the armor's pretty good. 50% chance to not die.
Granted, it's a cool armor set, but yeah, I think the next time I log in and we're really having that like grind sesh, I'm gonna buy the war bond. But I need that, like, we just played for hours and I'm hype.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'll like toss a coin to my Witcher.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll toss a coin for the deluxe edition just again to add an extra gun to my arsenal, because you never know with patches and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think I have a couple hundred super credits. I probably will buy it through the in-game.
Gotcha.
Like just from earning. But we'll see. Because I don't know if each war bond is also going to add more armor to the superstore.
Oh, yeah.
And if that's the case, then again, they have to like be careful with balancing, because I know that was a big issue with Destiny 2, is there became a point in the game, it was right after sunsetting, with all of their shit, that there became an issue where there was more cosmetics locked behind the Eververse store than were available in-game.
Wow.
Which is fucking crazy, because Destiny became free to play.
Yeah.
So dude, I can
whole
see being an issue.
So fucked.
Yeah, I can see that being an issue with Helldivers.
Yeah.
Even though most of the armor is cosmetic. But that one armor, the light armor that gives you the extra stims, that's like hailed as like an S tier.
Oh, okay.
There, so
damn.
I don't know.
I think we've all got that. I think I have like a heavy,
everybody should,
yeah. But see, it's funny because I'm still working on the first, like the initial, like
same
10-page war bond.
Yeah.
And then I've chipped away at some of the earlier pages of the first premium war bond.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll buy the new one, but I'm still going to be working on the first 10 page before I move on to the other, and then before I move on to the next.
Like, I think I'm either on page 6 or starting page 7 for the free one, and I'm now switching over. I'm going to try to finish page 2 of the first premium.
Damn.
And I think you're further on the free one than I am anyway.
Yeah,
You're
I'm on
like 7 or 8.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I think I'm on page 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on whatever one has the light armor with the stealth ability.
Yeah.
But it has 100 armor rating, which is 30 more than the other one that I have that is the highest. Like the first like standard light armor stealth armor set. That one has 70, and then there's another one that has 50. But this one is like has the most, and now that the ratings actually matter.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll have to watch some videos to see how they compare, because before, every armor set, 6 hits you were dead.
Okay.
So, and it was like, well, why wear heavy if it's still 6 hits? So
yeah, if
now you can survive 8 or 10, well, maybe that's a different story.
Yeah, and just be a little slower.
Yeah.
But so I know that you were talking about this game, and speaking of Aspire, they issued an apology for the launch of the Star Wars Battlefront Classic launch.
I didn't realize that already came out.
Yeah, it came out. It's funny because
I feel like I just saw it announced.
I think it was one of those things where they like announced that it was coming out and then it was out really quick, which is cool.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. But I
heard the servers were like
disastrous.
Yeah, because there was only like 60 people a match, and there was only like 200 servers, and there was like 10,000 people that were playing or trying to play, and
crazy.
Only like, and it's crazy to think. It's so weird. This is what I don't understand with these developers. Like, that Battlefront 2 is a beloved game. Yeah. A lot of people are upset with how the newer Battlefront 2 turned out. So obviously they want to relive the nostalgia. Yeah. Like, you don't think people aren't going to instantaneously jump on it? Also, if it's only like, I don't know how much the game is, but... Yeah, I didn't look. I would imagine it's probably like a $40 thing. So yeah, like someone will be like, okay, I'll play this for a week. They still might find justification in it, and it's just like, now you're cucking that person out of playtime. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like I played Battlefront 2 a lot. Yeah. At my buddy's house growing up, and we just like running around as Jedis. Yeah. Or I liked playing as Han Solo. Oh, nice. And blasting dudes. Yeah. Heroes versus villains. But we would play I think it was either the Mos Eisley level or it was Tatooine, but it was like the desert level with all the domed buildings. Yeah. And stuff. And I just remember like running around there jetpacking as Boba Fett or Jango Fett, and oh man, that was a good time. And it's such a disappointment with what happened with the newer Battlefront 2. Just all this, like, it took them months to add droidicas. And just to think of all the, like, if they did the same structure they did with Battlefield 3 and 4 of, like, every couple months there's this massive fucking DLC drop, and sure, the DLC is expensive, but you get multiple maps, multiple vehicles, guns, like, fucking huge. Yeah. You could so do that with the Star Wars universe. Yeah. Yeah, it's so expansive. And the Heroes versus Villains in the newer Battlefront was so fucking fun. Yeah. Because of how much more polished it was and everything. Yeah. Like, my buddies and I forget, I think in Heroes vs. Villains you had like a flag or some shit. Oh. There was a thing, whatever, in like the second movie where Rey goes and finds the fucking lightsaber stuffed in some shitty jungle. Yeah. It's like a canteen, but on some shitty planet. And it's where like the one dude has like the taser baton and he whips it around and he gets his ass beat like instantaneously. The courtyard on that map, all of my fucking... I've played as Lando Calrissian, and he can throw down shock traps that stun you. 4 players. We all stood in the courtyard, didn't move at all. And the enemy team, they all came in, they shot at us, we didn't move, and then they came real close to us, all the fucking mines went off, and we just fucking murked them. We just 4-0. We just absolutely killed them. It was the funniest shit to see. Damn. You're running around with Lando Calrissian doing his little Riz charisma corpse, and he's like fucking dodging and ass blasting Darth Vader, and you're like, yeah. Yeah. No, I remember playing the first one, and like honestly, like being pretty decent at it. Yeah. Because you could hip fire. Yeah. And it had like that like the detection was instant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I liked it, but it did feel kind of like, it didn't feel like what I remember Battlefront being. It felt like a Battlefield game with a Star Wars skin over it. And yeah, and that's what I liked so much about Battlefront was just the scope. So cool being part, and that's what I've always loved about Battlefield is just the scope, the sheer chaos. Yeah. Of that shit. Like, I think it's in 3 or 4. In 3, there's like a prison map, and you're just fucking fighting in a prison. Grenades everywhere. Yeah. Fucking 10 dudes dying, 10 more dudes spawning on each other, laying prone with miniguns. It's just so... And you could do that shit with Battlefront 2. Yeah. And then they just were like, no, we're done. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then for the classic version to come out.
And people were disappointed in the new one, so like, why would you not think people were going to play?
Yeah, that they were going to be hyped for this, and then server issues. I think the same thing with this that happened with Helldivers is that they underestimated how many people were interested.
Yeah.
Or how many people were going to try to play, and so they aimed low at the servers, and it's just a mess. Unless it's another thing similar to Helldivers, if it's a server issue, or not a server issue, but like a engine issue, where because like the engine was what was holding the server, like was holding the servers back for Helldivers. So I don't know if it's the same thing that's happening on this end with whatever server Aspire used to make the classic Battlefront game. I don't know if it's like
it sucks because if I buy it and play it, then I'm gonna want to play the newer one, and then I'm gonna be like heartbroken because it's just like stale now. Or it won't get any more updates, I think. So
at this point I don't think I'm diving back into.
I don't have the time to, but
I've kind of let Star Wars go.
Oh, as
an IP.
Yeah.
Because like I used to be really into it, but it was like it's difficult because it's like I think I grew up not really caring about Star Wars, mostly because the ship had sailed.
Yeah.
And then, Phantom Menace came out, and I remember seeing that and not seeing Attack of the Clones and seeing Revenge of the Sith when it came to home video. And then sometime in like 2010, 2011, Tumblr like repopularized Star Wars to the people that were like my age.
Yeah.
That were like, oh, it's cool to be into nerdy shit.
Yeah.
And
probably because of the TV, the Cartoon Network, the Clone Wars.
You could have been.
That show was fucking fire.
Yeah. I know a lot of people love that show.
I'm a diehard fan of that because it expanded on such a cool part of the universe.
Yeah.
Whereas in the movie section, we got one movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some, like with the Phantom Menace, but like the core conflict was only in the third movie.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole fucking TV show to expand on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. It's funny, like every now and then we work with somebody that like one weekend just like went down the Clone Wars rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
And like came into work Monday. He was like, dude, you ever watch the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, are you talking about the animated Star Wars show? And he was like, yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, absolutely, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'd be cool if they made a Battlefront game based on the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Well, like exclusively and like not as expansive as like
with that look.
Yeah.
And focused on like that era in Star Wars. But
yeah, because I was gonna say the new Battlefront 2 takes like pivotal moments of all. Like you can play on Geonosis. Okay. There is a Geonosis map.
Oh, cool.
And like the OG Battlefront had Geonosis as a map as well.
Yeah.
Like you go into like one of the little nest things or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was like the 4-legged spider drone walkers and the mosquito nosed fucking thing.
Yeah. See, I just remember playing like Kashyyyk.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was like the Mos Eisley level.
Yeah.
That was like the main ones I ran around. But to be honest, I was a huge fan of The Force Unleashed.
Okay.
That was my Star Wars games. I really enjoyed those. 2 is really dope. And I played Fallen Order and I enjoyed it. But by the time the second one came out, Jedi Survivor or whatever, at that point I've just let it go. So I think like this one is just gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, if they make a new Star Wars Battlefront 3, if they ever do at some point, I will probably buy it if it's on sale because I hope again it can grasp or like bring that nostalgia factor back because the game looks really good.
Yeah.
Even though at this point it is like probably a good 5 years old, it still looks beautiful.
Yeah, they were pretty games.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's one thing they get right, it's the visuals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like DICE.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. It sucks that the new Battlefield was such a bad.
Yeah, dude. Which was wild because so many people were hype on it going into it.
Oh yeah.
But it was such a mess at launch that
the beta was fucking atrocious.
Yeah, it was dead on arrival. The next story, we have 2 more. That game Stellar Blade.
Oh, yeah.
It comes out 2 days before my birthday.
Hell yeah.
Which I'm incredibly hype on. I was like telling Nikki, my fiance, for those that don't know, like what I wanted for my birthday, and I was like, I want a dedicated 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Not a game console anymore. And I want PlayStation gift cards so I can buy Stellar Blade
And leave the room.
I pulled up the trailer and I was like, hey, just so you know, like, this is the game I really want. And I'm like, I will be embarrassed if you walk in while I'm playing it.
Oh yeah.
And I think she laughed, but she was like, I can see why.
Nice. Yeah. The classic.
But they added, there's a skin in the game that's like a not safe for work skin.
Yeah.
That the developers are put it in place where it would be, I don't know how, but that the game will be more difficult if you opt to use that skin to punish people.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. That's a fun little nod.
Yeah.
Like, okay, pervert, have fun playing the game, but
Yeah. It's going to be demonstrably harder.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Which I probably won't. There's a thing where it's like, I remember like third person action games where like you can play as a woman or you can play as a guy. I remember like when I was in high school, people would say like, oh, I'll play as a chick because I'd rather stare at her ass than stare at the ass of some guy the whole game. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
I've always played as guys.
Yeah.
I've never understood the desire to, and I've heard that argument.
Yeah.
I'd rather, look at my female characters, and it's like, well, I don't objectify women, so.
Yeah. Well, see, like, I would look at him like, dude, why are you trying to prove your, like, your hetero-ness so much that it even extends to this?
My alpha sigma Chad energy in my video game.
Yeah.
Which is, like, not the most alpha activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, it's like, if you were... It'd be like big dick energy to just be like, no, I'm a fucking dude. I'm playing as a dude.
Yeah. I want to see my Marcus Phoenix Gears of War jacked as fucking oily as shit.
Yeah.
Killing locusts and stuff. Yeah. All for humanity's sake. That's a man. That's America's, you know?
But like, if they were like, oh, well, I want to experience this game from like the female perspective, that's big dick energy too.
Also, yeah.
But when you're like, I want to look at cake, not fucking Hank Hill ass. Yeah. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Why are you looking at their ass like that?
Yeah. Which,
I mean, we're all taking peeks, but why does it matter to you like that?
Yeah. I'm looking at the guns on, like I said, Marcus in Gears of War.
Yeah. Like, he's so ripped. So vascular.
Yeah. Imagine how many fucking locusts he could just beat the shit out of with his hands. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Dude, fucking Gears 2 Horde mode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, take me back.
Yeah, it's a weird argument when people hit you with that and you're like, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's hilarious.
Have you been around a woman? Like, that's the first thing that thinks.
Dude, if you're getting bricked up over Stellar Blade, you might need to...
I made jokes about...
You might need to touch ass.
Yeah. I made jokes about that when I played Atomic Heart.
Oh, yeah?
Because, like, obviously the two ballerina robots...
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, it's impossible to play this game with one hand. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because the game, not to spoil too much, but there are some very suggestive things in the game, and you're like, why was that designed that way?
Yeah.
And, like, there's a point where one of the ballerina robots goes to pick up a key, and they, like, balance on one hand, and their other leg is out. And it literally, the camera angle, you can't stop yourself, just goes down their ass and their leg, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this was on purpose?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Did you ever play the new Tomb Raider games?
No.
Oh my god, dude. That first one, you're like...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, they made Lara Croft way hot.
And it's weird because it's like, they did it on purpose. Like, they didn't, like, with this, like, I can't change my camera angle. Like, you're forcing me to go down this humanoid robot and see their ass and then pick up a key.
Yeah.
And, like, some of the locks on the doors are very, like, suggestive of what they're supposed to be. And it's just like, why does it look like this?
Yeah.
Like, why is it shaped like this?
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, if somebody asked me, like, why do you want to play this Stellar Blade game? I'd be like, dude, the gameplay looks dope, but it feels like I'm lying. Like, I'm like, the gameplay looks like an awesome action RPG.
And then they go, tell me what it really is.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I'm fucking serious, dude. It could be fucking Devil May Cry. I would be as excited. It's like,
Mom, I promise the gameplay is impeccable.
Yeah. Like, Mom, you don't understand. The narrative is so nuanced.
The socioeconomic parallels of our world. Right?
Yeah.
The deep dive into the rich versus the poor is just so good.
But yeah, no, it really does just look like an awesome game. And it does look like a beautiful game, but they really
say that. I'm just kidding.
They really put some fan service.
Oh yeah,
for a new IP, which is hilarious to me.
Good on them.
Yeah,
you know,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're going. We're gonna make Bayonetta for PlayStation.
Yeah,
yeah.
As long as they're not like, I mean, I guess it's hard to be creepy about it, but yeah, it's not like it's straight, uncensored. Everything.
Yes.
But they do know what they're doing.
Yeah.
This though, I like that they can do this and poke fun at it.
Yeah.
And acknowledge it. That shows that, you know, it's not like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, 100%. Like in a lot of like anime based games.
Yeah.
There'll be like a female character that's clearly like 14 years old.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, actually she's an 8,000-year-old witch. And you're like, okay.
And she's wearing like a torn bed sheet
as
clothes. And it's just like, this bitch can't find anything better to wear.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that shit fucking drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, like, cultural differences, okay, whatever. But at the same time, like, what a weird loophole.
Yeah.
That, like, a lot of people that you would think would be offended about that, just let it go.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of, like, Twilight, though. Like with Twilight, like Edward is supposed to be like 100 years old.
Yeah.
But he's like fucking can't control himself around this like 16-year-old girl.
Well, that's because he's an alpha, dude.
Yeah.
He's the leader of the, or is he the vampire?
He's the vampire.
Oh, fuck. Oh, wow.
The werewolf, I think, is actually age appropriate, but he's hella creepy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leader of the pack.
The weirdest fucking thing is when I was moving back to the Outer Banks from Austin, Texas. On that drive, my ex-girlfriend wanted to listen to Midnight Sun.
Okay.
The entire time, or is that what it's called? I think it's called Midnight Sun. But it's the story of the first Twilight book from Edward's perspective.
Okay.
So it's just about this guy that can't control himself around this girl that's way younger than him.
I was gonna say, I think I saw or read somewhere that the Twilight series is like was supposed to be like whatever the fuck that other series books is, like something gray.
Oh no, 50 Shades of Grey started out as erotic fan fiction for Twilight.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah,
full circle.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy
to write that, and that's what I'm watching in with my friends in the 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, okay.
There's a fucking dude who wants to be in separate housing because he can't control himself.
Oh yeah,
and he's 25.
The Latter-day Saint Mormon guy,
the fucking Mormon with his like super hot like 20-year-old fiance, Russian mail order bride. Dude, and he's like,
you know what you were doing.
I can't control myself. Also, he's admitted on camera that he's already like
he's soaked.
Yeah. So and it's just like, what the fuck? I don't know. Dude. That's just the cringiest shit to be like, I can't control myself. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah. But then don't control yourself. Just give in, dude.
Yeah. Like, don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah. But anyway, Stellar Blade.
Sorry. I wanted to throw that in there with not being able to control yourself thing. It's just.
Yeah. There's going to be dudes that just like set up an angle and then get to pumping.
They're gonna be playing the game with the camera all the way fucking pointed up and
at the ground up. Yeah.
I forget what freaking game it was. There was a game. Oh, I think Overwatch. I swear to God, there was some times in Overwatch where you would die, and if you were waiting to respawn, it would like throw your fucking camera angle up at the air so you would see the crotch and the feet of whoever the fuck you spectated.
Everybody's like, Tracer, come over here, Tracer,
Yeah,
Tracer.
yeah. Like I distinctively remember like it being on Ash or whatever. I'm just like, why the fuck is this the default thing? I swear to God, I have not touched my controller.
Yeah.
Like, why is it doing this?
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the last story I have before we can move on is apparently the Epic Games boss called the Valve executives assholes.
Sore losers.
A little while ago.
Womp
Yeah,
womp.
after because of the 30% rip that Valve takes on their stuff. And to be honest, Epic seems like what they're trying to do, and this is just speculation on my part, but it seems like what they're trying to do is play the nice guy to get people in. Mm-hmm. And then after they do that, then they're going to switch and go back to being like everyone else.
Yeah, it's like the fucking dude who likes the girl and she just broke up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's literally that. And like, to be fair though,
I never would have done that, baby.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, I would never take 30% from you.
Yeah.
Like, come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're locked into a contract. You're using. Oh, yeah. Well, it was 30% when it was Unreal Engine 4, but now it's Unreal Engine 5. So sucks to suck. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
I do. Kudos to them because I think they did have a thing. It was either them or it was Unity before they did their dumb fucking decision. One of them had a thing where they wouldn't charge you if you made like X amount of money, but then the minute you started making sales over that, then they would start taking it from you. I think it was Unity. It's like $100,000, which is impressive.
Yeah.
But I think Epic had still something similar to that.
Well, Epic was the one that basically was saying, I think in this article talking about this, that they were like, so if you do well, or like if your game's not doing well, then you get even further punished. Where it's like, if your game is doing well, the better it's doing, the least percentage they take off of a rip. So it was like, you know, if your game's doing really well and passes a certain milestone, maybe Valve only takes like 20%, or so I think one even looked like it was as low as like 12%. But
and Steam doesn't give a shit.
Steam is just
flat 30
no matter what.
Which,
dude, by most standards is pretty fair, but we all know that there's like backdoor agreements that are made.
And I know that because they went on a crusade against Apple as well.
Yes.
Because their in-game purchases were being taxed, and then they went on the high road and went, well, now we're forcing the consumer to pay more because we have to compensate for your Apple fee. And they lost that. I'm pretty sure. But they also did some pretty shitty things. They, like, for a week or two, went behind Apple's back. Like, purposely.
Isn't the way to get around that selling physical codes in a storefront?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because
they were allowing purchases to go, like, around Apple's app store.
Yes, to avoid the cut.
Yeah.
And Apple, was it Apple that took all their stuff?
Oh, yeah, they can't, no fucking Fortnite on Apple anymore and shit like that.
Wow.
Because they did that, though. They tried to be like, hey, this is kind of unfair, and Apple was like, yeah, we don't care. And then they did this for like a week or two, and Apple was like, what the fuck did I just tell you? Like, you know what I mean? You can't do that. And, which, I mean, to be fair, though, you could argue Epic is kind of like a big deal as well. They're pretty impressive. Like, they're like, development compound is fucking insanely futuristic.
I bet.
And like with Unreal Engine 5, that's gonna be crazy. Like they are a big deal. They're nowhere near the size of Apple, obviously, or Steam, unfortunately. But you know, they're definitely, I agree with you on that take of they're taking the high road to be seen as the good guys. But
it's not working.
No, it didn't work. And again, I don't know, I think it's funny to call them assholes when at the end of the day everybody gives a shit about money. And you could also argue that Steam could have jacked up the 30%. They're another industry that has just stayed at 30%, and they're just like, look, this is how it is.
I think 30% is pretty fair. But I like to imagine that Gabe Newell is like, reads like, you assholes, and he's like, Whatever.
Like a fucking billionaire, like 10 times over, and
yeah. No, I mean, for what Steam offers as an ecosystem, 30% rip is pretty fair, especially when you know that like most of the people are there, and it's like if the consumer prefers to be on an iPhone, playing Fortnite, which is a weird fucking thing to prefer. But if that's where you prefer to play Fortnite mobile, and if enough people are there wanting to do that, and you want to take advantage of that market share, who the fuck are you to complain about the rip that they're taking when they created the platform most people enjoy?
And that's what I mean. Like, for an analogy, it's like it's Steam's faucet.
Yeah.
You did not make that faucet.
So they're Valve?
They're Valve. Like, we can say that, like, they're Valve. They made the whole fucking thing. So for you to sit there and be like, and when they put in their straw on that valve, and sure, it's not the smallest straw, but it's not the biggest straw, and they turn on that faucet, and this is what they're taking, like, it is kind of entitled to be like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
When, again, they're the ones that made it all.
Yeah. To call it greedy.
Yeah, they allowed you to be making the profits that you are. Well, maybe not go that far, but they're giving you the audience to allow you to get those profits.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But, I don't know.
And it's so weird because it's just like Epic could have just copied Steam like 1-to-1, and they didn't, and their like storefront and everything is shit.
Yeah.
Like, again, people really like achievements. The fact that Epic has none of that is crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Because, like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you see, I know that Nintendo's reasoning, I believe, is that it detracts from the fun of the minute-to-minute gameplay. Like, once you're playing for trophies or achievements, you're playing for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Nintendo's stance on achievements is, and it's why they've not implemented it, which makes sense to an extent. Like, just play it, get what you want out of it, and move on. However, I think, especially in the digital age of game ownership, having the achievements and trophies is your book on the shelf of like, no, you can see that I platinumed it, or you can see that I at least beat it and got a gold trophy. I mean, it's mostly for platinums. Nobody's really bragging about gold trophies, but it's at least proof that you did it.
Yeah. It's just a validation. Badge, and then if someone peeks on you or you're talking shit, you can be like, well, I did XYZ, so
but totally. Speaking of platinums, though, your boy, for what we've been playing, I beat Resistance Retribution, got the platinum.
Golf clap.
Platinum trophy 11. I only had 10.
Shit.
Yeah, and it's like Ratchet and Clank 1, Sly 1, Sly 2, The Order 1886.
Yeah, that's way more than me.
Ghost of Tsushima, and then Ghost of Tsushima on PS5.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2. And I think I played one of those like cheap, like, it's My Name is Mayo. It's like one of those really easy platinum trophy games because I just wanted to see what they were all about.
I only have 2.
You only have 2 platinums? What are they? Do you know?
If I click on them, will they? I do not know what they are.
You'd have to scroll until you see it.
Oh, jeez.
But while you do that, I'll talk about Resistance Retribution. I struggled with some of those late game levels, just because of how janky the controls are. Because, you know, it was a PSP game that they added dual stick functionality that you could play with a PS3 controller, but then, you know, it's ported that way, and it still isn't great. It's not like optimized, and it was just really hard to control, and some of the bosses like just wreck you. And so I really struggled and basically had to cheese my way through the rest of the game. Instead of in the original Resistance, or in the Resistance games, the bullseye gun, the alt fire would shoot one shot that if you hit a target, you could back around the corner and shoot out into nothing, and the bullets would home on whatever you shot with the tracker bullet. And instead of doing that in this game, when you have the alternate fire for the bullseye gun is to press and hold it, and it charges up a blade. It's actually not called the bullseye. It's called the buzzsaw, I think.
Okay.
And you launch this blade out that will hit an enemy and then go to the next enemy and go to the next enemy.
That's pretty cool.
And for the most part, if you charge it up, maybe like halfway or 3/4 of the way to full, when you pop out, like what I would do is I would charge it up, pop out, shoot somebody and go back behind the wall and hope that it at least killed one.
Yeah.
But it was at least a one-shot kill. And I would just do that over and over through like all the little mini interactions. And then almost every interaction was me trying to, or every encounter was me trying to figure out what was the optimal way. It would be like run in, die, figure out like, okay, these are the type of enemies that are there. To take those out, I need to like pop out with the far eye sniper, slow down time, and just pick.
So would the AI like not be aggressive and bum rush you?
No.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't.
That's nice.
Yeah, it wasn't sophisticated enough, and I think it was too.
They just hit harder.
Yeah, they hit harder, and the most annoying thing about this is that there was no trophy linked to difficulty.
Ooh.
So I could have just played on easy.
Yeah.
And there was no ability to change difficulty once you started the campaign.
Holy shit.
So by the time the game got really hard, I was near the end.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to start the campaign over and go through the whole game again just to finish the game more easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was annoying.
So where is this game in the story of, because there's 3 Resistance, right? Or is this the third one I'm thinking, or is it 2? And
there's Resistance 1, 2, 3 console games. And then in terms of handhelds, there's Resistance Retribution, and which was on the PSP, and Resistance Burning Skies, which was on the PlayStation Vita. Burning Skies I've not played, but it was back to first-person shooter controls because they had the twin stick or the dual sticks on the Vita. Which I hope that someday that gets ported because I'm just a sucker for Resistance games.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I know we'll never get another one. They actually were pitching Resistance 4, and the rumor from someone that is very much in the know said that Resistance 3 sold really poorly, and we recently got numbers on that in the Insomniac leak. It did not sell well at all. Actually, each Resistance game decreased in sales.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and then when Resistance 4 was pitched, they said no because at the time there were too many like zombie post-apocalyptic games.
Yeah.
And they knew that The Last of Us was in development at the time.
They didn't want it to compete, yeah.
Yeah, and also probably really early Days Gone.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, they said no to Resistance 4 because of the bad sales of the previous entries. And so we know we're never getting another Resistance game. And so me clinging to it, me trying to speak with my wallet, as soon as it came up, I was like, it's $10, buy it.
Yeah.
And played through it. But got the Platinum. Glad I have it. But wouldn't, unless you were like me, in terms of being a Resistance fan, I would not recommend anybody play it.
Damn.
And then
I've watched some videos on the lore of Resistance because I always thought the universe was cool.
Yeah. I have a big retrospective on all 3 of the games.
Really?
That if you ever want to go down there, it was the first video I made.
I'll have to watch it
on that channel. Yeah.
Because the universe is very cool. If the universe entices me, then I'll like dive down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so cool because it's and to answer your question, Resistance Retribution, I believe, takes place after the events in Resistance 1.
Oh, okay.
So
wow, so pretty early. Yes,
it's complicated because I think, or it could be what is happening while you're in the UK. This is happening in France.
Like simultaneous, parallel to it.
Because by the time Resistance 2 comes out, they've gone from like the 40s to the 50s. And so like, but it might be like a really close, like the events of Resistance Fall of Man take place in like 49. And then by the time you get to Resistance 2, it's like 50, 51.
Okay.
But the main character at that point, Nathan Hale, is like pretty far along in his like hybrid conversion, which is really cool. Because like playing as a character throughout the campaign, like that you're getting worse and worse. Your condition is getting worse and worse. And when you would like say you like beat a chapter and you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing for the day, and you pause and like go back to the main menu, Nathan Hale would like slowly deteriorate.
That's pretty cool.
So in the beginning of the game, he's got like a shaved head. You can see like the 5 o'clock shadow on the top of his head and his beard. But as he's going through the conversion process, his hair is falling out and receding. So he's getting more and more like the 5 o'clock shadow goes away.
Yeah.
And his eyes are getting more and more like amber colored.
Yeah.
And by the end of the game, like after you beat the game and you go back, like you can see all the veins like coming up his face, and
that's
like
pretty cool.
Oh, dude, it was so badass. Yeah. In the co-op for Resistance 2,
yeah,
dude, they could just release it like that. But basically,
weren't they?
Helldivers 2 fills that void. If I'm being honest,
weren't they gonna do an Uncharted multiplayer?
Yeah, because Uncharted 2 and 3
maybe
had
not
multiplayer.
Uncharted. I'm sorry, Last of Us.
Yes, it was factions, but they actually canceled it.
All right, good.
Which
I can't imagine it would be that good, but I don't know.
Dude, did you ever play factions in The Last of Us 1?
Nope. All right, so maybe I'm talking out my ass. Okay.
It was fucking Hobo Fights, the video game.
Oh, that sounds pretty sick, actually.
Just like crafting fucking bats with nails and shit and just beating the shit out of each other.
That's cool.
Oh my god, it was dope. And it's still, if you play The Last of Us Remastered, the PS4 version on your PS5, you can still play factions.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it still operates. People still play it. Servers are still live.
Damn.
And it's actually pretty dope.
I mean, Hobo Fight sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, but like if they made like an extraction shooter like that, I mean, the thing is that the factions was apparently really far along in development, and they put the kibosh on it because of what Bungie said. That the gameplay loop didn't seem like it would retain people that long, and
fucking crazy coming from them, but.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they do have a cult following. They have a solid...
Yeah. But it makes me wonder, what did Bungie think of Helldivers 2? Because you know that they looked at it.
Yeah.
Because they said that Bungie reviewed all of the upcoming live service games.
I almost wonder if maybe the CEO, because there was that article of the dude who visited Bungie after their like 43% revenue missing the mark. And he said that which is really fucking funny because I do think Bungie has been blaming everything other than themselves. He said like, yeah, there's a lot of creative potential, but they don't take responsibility.
Yeah, that was Hiroki Totoki.
Yeah, I was like, that's really interesting wording for you to say that, because I agree. Like, they've got so much creative potential, but again, they're like fucking not hitting the mark ever. Yeah. And then they always fucking blame it on something.
Yeah. Well, I
wonder if they like didn't listen to him though.
Yeah. Yeah, they might not have. But like I think Bungie is they're a creative place that is thinking more of like in the mindset of like an artist.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately video games are like, I'm not sure if the word confluence is the right word, but like it's the intersection of art and consumerism. Mm-hmm. Like in a way that is super heightened because so many different forms of art have to cooperate with one another to create a video game. But also, like, it needs to be marketed, it needs to be sold, it needs to do all of these things to get the return on investment.
And do all of it well.
Yes. And dude, it's a fucking complex thing.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to take off. Mm-hmm. You know, like you could tell PlayStation didn't really think Helldivers 2 was going to be what it is. Yeah. And
like, who would have guessed Lethal Company, which is made by one fucking dude?
Yeah.
And that person's a fucking millionaire now.
Wild.
It was somewhere up in the Steam charts, and you could see it sold X amount of units, and if you do the math, even with the 30% cut, that person has made millions of dollars off of a $10 game.
Yeah.
Like,
fucking
what the
wild.
fuck? Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3 has made, I think, like $1 billion for fucking Hasbro.
Yeah.
And Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
That's with the
shout out to
30%
that licensing fee. Yeah.
Like,
but after finishing Resistance Retribution, I was looking at my library.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what I wanted to play next.
Big news.
And big news. I had been looking at it for a couple of months, or like the last couple of weeks, just like scanning by. And this is a game that I bought because I wanted to check it out. Then I bought the second one because I wanted to check it out, and the third one became available on PS Plus. So I started playing Darksiders War Mastered Edition. I'm a big OG God of War fan. And this kind of scratches that same itch.
Hell yeah.
I'm only like 30 minutes into it. I literally started it this Friday morning before work.
Nice.
And I like the idea of like heaven and hell kind of being these like entities that the human world is like something introduced into that balance. And then there's the four horsemen that kind of police those three factions.
I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, the way they do heaven and hell and like the end times, the biblical end times is a unique take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
It's not the stereotypical, the four horsemen are the harbingers of the apocalypse. They have a very unique role in that series.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, but right now I'm like really interested, and I think I'll probably play this and maybe go for the platinum. It would require 2 playthroughs because I'm playing on normal the first time. If I just jumped right into apocalyptic difficulty, it could be a 1 playthrough thing, but I don't think I want to throw myself in the deep end like that.
I would have no idea what the difficulty. I'm assuming you'd have to be pretty fucking careful and
I the way I read the platinum guide is that there's got to be like a new game plus where like you can go back through apocalyptic with the full armor set and play through and
so
be
you
okay.
won't get at your ass beat.
Yes. And so that's what I'm outside of Helldivers and Borderlands. Playing Darksiders War Mastered. Nice. It was between that or Hellblade Senua's Saga because Hellblade 2 comes out in May. That's the one with the Viking-looking
girl, right?
Yes.
On the cover, okay.
Yeah. So, but I'll probably get to that. I'll probably play Hellblade after I play Alone in the Dark.
Nice.
Yeah. But what have you been playing?
Well, this past week was pretty lackadaisical. I don't think I touched Steel Rising at all, but I will definitely try to finish it this weekend.
Cool.
Maybe try to stream it. I did have something that I didn't bring up last time that I wanted to bring up, and I mentioned about like you had to get to a certain point in the story to start unlocking these blocked side paths. So I unlocked one of the side paths because you just need a tool to be able to break a crumbling wall.
Okay.
But I have some praise and some criticism. I'm noticing on these balconies, there are these glowing lights, and I'm thinking I'm supposed to grapple onto them. Because, like, if I look at the balcony, there's an open door or something to go through, and it's just very weird the way that it's lit. It's not super noticeable, but if you just take the time to stop, you can see a glint, like the sniper glare.
Yeah.
And it's from this, like, candle or light, and it's just like, I feel like you're telling me to go here. My criticism is you're being a fucking tease by giving me the option to unlock this area I haven't been to, and then you're still fucking me over by not allowing me to truly. Yeah. So it's like, just let me unlock the whole thing. Stop doing these little breadcrumbs and then force it, because I feel like you're going to artificially lengthen the game by doing that.
Yeah.
Because now I'm backtracking way more than I need to.
Yeah.
The plus side to it is, and this was a big issue with Dying Light 2, is I think it's a very creative way to tell me there's points to climb. Whereas Dying Light 2 is very guilty of, wow, some random dude painted the fucking town yellow. And this is what I need to grab. In too many games,
Yeah.
Gamers are not that stupid. And we have technology now. We can look up, where the hell am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
I do not need an entire mountain cliff painted yellow.
Yeah.
Like, too many games do that shit.
Yeah.
So I appreciate them not painting a fucking balcony yellow for me.
Yeah.
But it's annoying thinking I'm going to have to go back for a second time now.
Yeah. I noticed it about Darksiders.
Yeah.
That they didn't paint things yellow.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of trust that, like, when the little prompt comes up that's like, hey, you can grab onto the sides of walls and wall run, and then you just see like a pipe. It's like, let me try it. And then you try it and it works, and you're like, oh shit, okay.
And if you die, you die. Okay, it sucks. Hopefully there's a save point so you don't have to constantly be repeating that. I get it. But like in an open world parkour game like Dying Light and what it's advertised as, not everything needs to be freaking yellow.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
come on now. If you want to, and I feel like Dying Light 1 did a good job at that. There would be like a yellow bandana.
Yeah.
And then you would look down and see a piece of board and then, you know, a broken wall, and you're like, oh, I can climb that. But at the very top is where like a yellow scrap piece of plastic was that would signify.
Yeah.
I don't need every single board painted yellow or hazard stripes.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
It's like in Far Cry 4, there would be like blue ropes dangled over the edge of a side of a ledge.
Yeah.
That would signify like, oh, I can jump and grab onto that and pull myself up.
Even I think Horizon did it with the yellow cable.
Yes.
Not all the time, and it's not as egregious as the other games, but it's just weird. It's like, so some motherfucker just has 1,000 yards of yellow rope, and it's just going around the whole fucking map, helping out random strangers. Like, just mix it up a little bit is all I'm asking.
Yeah. So what I wonder about that is that, so like, it sounds like a classic Metroidvania style thing. Like when I played Metroid Dread on Switch, it was my first time playing a Metroid game to completion, and with time, you realize that what the game is doing is they're leading you to a boss based on you testing the limits of what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
And once you realize, like, oh, I can go this way, and you keep going that way, and then eventually you find the path and you beat a boss and you unlock a new ability. Somewhere along that path, you encounter a door that you can't get open.
Yeah.
And after you have that ability, if you think, oh, I should go back and see if I can open that door now, and you go back, you can open the door, and that lets you in, and you keep going and keep progressing. But I would imagine if they start showing you too many things that you can't access, it makes you feel like, did I miss something? Am I lost? What is happening?
And with my experience with From Software games, you know, you go through a level and you unlock 1 or 2 shortcuts. So if you die, you can get back to where you need to easier.
Okay.
This, it's cool, you know, you're in the city, you're in France. I'm assuming everything, I don't know how big Paris is. I can't imagine. I'm assuming the scope of the game is a little bit bigger than Paris. Okay. Because, I mean, we're going to, like, the Chateau, the Sun Palace. I know there's a bunch of other palaces and their names. I only know the Sun Palace because of, like, Louis the 16th. But, and then there's a fast travel, which is nice. You can fast travel with a carriage, which I really do like the aesthetic because it's very steampunky, like an alternate reality. So there isn't actually any horses. It's mechanical horses pulling the carriage, which is cool. And the enemies are super cool. But again, it's just like, dude, I don't want to be teleporting and running the whole fucking level again. Yeah. Just to make sure no stone is unturned. Like, there's some instances where it's okay, but then I'm just, like I said, I feel like you're artificially padding it out. I don't know when the end of the game is going to be. Like, I have no concept of who the fuck. I mean, I think I know who the main villain is and what I could assume would be the main boss, but, like, I don't know.
How long does it say the PSN? Or how long does the PSN say you've been playing the game?
I've only played it for like 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
So,
you ever use how long to beat?
No. I only have 10% of the achievements right now. I've killed 2, And here's what I'm assuming. I don't know.
Oh, main story should only take you 15 hours.
Cool, so I can probably finish it this weekend.
Yeah.
The enemies, I've noticed the big named enemies, the one is a bishop, and the second one I fought was a rook.
Okay.
So I'm curious of how many chess pieces are we going to go down? Like, am I going to have a knight, the knight of this? Because that's what so, like, there's mini bosses, and it's just a bar of health over a regular enemy that you've already fought, which isn't, like, the funnest thing either. Also, again, unfortunately, the combat, the named bosses, like the bishop of this and the rook of that, they're really cool. All the other ones are you just dodge around to the backside, you hit it 2 or 3 times, you back off, because it's going to do an AoE attack.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
Like with Elden Ring, you know, there are bosses where even when I play again, they're doing moves I had no fucking idea existed. Like if you actually, I'll show you after this, one of like a decently important boss, which is still completely optional, there is a legit fucking flow chart of, depending on if this is what you just did to it, it has all these potentials to do all this shit.
Oh, shit.
I can't imagine like how many hours of work went in to designing that one boss.
Yeah. Like if you attack it with like a magic spell, it'll switch up its distance management and use different attacks
and
on
if or this distance, that triggers another thing.
Wow.
Like there's a generic fucking troll boss in a dungeon. I didn't know it breathes fire. I have beaten that thing like 3 or 4 times now. I just saw on Reddit it breathes fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
And was it because when you fought it, you stood generally more close to it, so it never breathed fire?
Yeah, it's just crazy to know that. And then there's this where it's just like who can whack at who.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, the name bosses are kind of cool. They have a lot more put into them. There was one that used a lot of elements, which was pretty nifty. But I like bosses that change the arena as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I like, bosses that affect the arena and do certain stuff.
Gotcha.
Which no, like, From Software boss really does that. There are some that do it, but they have way more movesets, so I feel like that's a good trade-off.
Gotcha. Okay.
But, yeah, so hopefully finish it this week, or this weekend. I don't know what I'll pick next. Probably Forbidden West.
Ooh.
I don't see why I shouldn't. I mean, we've been talking about it. It would be kind of lame of me not to do it. So
okay.
But yeah, I don't think I'm going to try to platinum Steel Rising. I think once I beat it, and I will attempt to do some of the side missions, but I'm not going to go like for every little nitpicky thing.
And see, now you can like start a new game, play through, and play Burning Shores.
Yeah.
Like, or Burning Skies.
I think it's Shores, I feel like.
Okay. Well, whichever one it is, like, you could really dive deep, because I haven't gone back. I think what I'll end up doing is at some point do a Zero Dawn, maybe when the remaster for Zero Dawn comes out, do a replay of that, play the DLC, then go back and replay Forbidden West.
Yeah,
and
because there was only a couple achievements I needed for Zero Dawn. It was all blocked, I think, behind some of the hunt challenges. Okay. There were some that were fucking hard as shit, I think, for me, or like collecting, I think, something, and I didn't really want to look up a guide because I was pretty proud of how far I had gone. Yeah. Without looking every single little thing. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
But yeah, so I mean, it's not a bad game. I think if it's going the direction I'm thinking of, with like needing a third thing to backtrack, probably gonna like lower it a little bit. I thought it was a decent 7, might be a 6, because that pisses me off. Because that was my issue with Atomic Heart, is there was just a lot of locked doors.
Gotcha.
And it's just like, why is every fucking door locked?
Yeah.
And granted, the lock picking system, it was one of 3 different things, so it did mix it up. Okay. But still, spending a minute every time there's a locked door, like, it's annoying. That added an extra hour or 2 probably single-handedly. Wow. And it's just like, why?
Yeah. It just pulls you out of the experience. Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
So.
But, yeah, I guess other than that, Helldivers and Borderlands.
Yeah. And, cool. I mean, I will comment on my reaction to your reaction of Borderlands. As like a hyped observer, like, you know, shepherding you into this world like a proud dad or something. Yeah. But I'm not I'm not trying to spoil it too much and get overly excited and then let something slip.
Yeah.
So I am excited to Borderlands. I will be very excited to play because I haven't played in a hot minute. Borderlands 2, obviously, I'm excited to. Same with the pre-sequel. I'm excited to really do every single thing in those games as well. I did a lot, but not everything, and I think we could try to work on platinuming those maybe.
Yeah.
Other than I know there are some achievements locked behind playing a character and doing this. And it's like I'm not gonna want to like do 500 fucking playthroughs just to do those little things.
If those exist, then the platinum's off the table unfortunately, for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, be in this mode for X amount of seconds, and you could only achieve that by being a certain level and getting certain gear to buff it. And
gotcha. Yeah, the window is passed for us to play through it 4 times.
Yeah.
To alternate all the different characters.
3 I'll be excited to play because I haven't played any of the DLC.
Oh, okay.
3, and I've only played it like twice.
Gotcha.
So it'll be fun to touch that again. And same
Tiny
with
Tina's?
Tiny Tina's, I haven't played at all other than like the very beginning.
Damn, hell yeah.
So
okay, bet.
And then Helldivers, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I'm itching to play this weekend.
Yeah, me too. When I get back Sunday and I'm like editing and the video's uploading, it's fucking go time.
Hell yeah.
But then our last segment for the show, say it with your chest.
Oh, God. To think of.
Yeah, I'll go first so I can buy you a little bit of time on this one. My say it with your chest this week isn't as much of a hot take as it was last week, but it's that THQ Nordic is an underrated publisher. Yes. I listed out some games that they published. The Darksiders series, they're publishing Alone in the Dark, at least the new one. They've done the Remnant series.
That's a good game.
Yeah, the Destroy All Humans remakes.
Classic.
The SpongeBob SquarePants games.
Classic.
Like Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and then the new one, the Cosmic Shake, which are from what I hear, decent platformers. And they also do a lot of they'll do the PC port for certain games. Like one that to me was of note was Quantum Break, Remedy's Quantum Break, because Xbox published that for Xbox, but for the PC port, THQ Nordic handled the publishing on that. And when I look at THQ Nordic, they kind of remind me of like how we were talking about earlier of like Focus Interactive or Focus Entertainment. I forget what they've changed it to, but that like they make these good they make solid 7s.
Nice. Yeah.
Or better.
Yeah.
Recently, so I started playing Darksiders Remastered or War Mastered or whatever, and it's like, okay, and I think that THQ also handled the original release. I'm not 100% on that, but I feel like that's true. It might not have been THQ Nordic, but it might have been THQ proper. And then so they're doing a lot of these remakes and remasters and kind of bringing games forward, but then they also seem to have a decent solid output, or typically what they'll do is they'll remake or remaster something and then they'll make a new version of it. Almost like how Toys for Bob made the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, and then they brought It's About Time for the 4th game. Okay. They made an original game, and I kind of like that cadence, and it makes me wonder that okay, so Alone in the Dark comes out. I hope it does well. I hope it's a good game so that it has good buzz and does well, because games like that really scratch an itch for me. It kind of reminds me of did you see the trailer for The Sinking City too?
No, but I followed the first one.
Got you. I know
the premise of it.
I put the original on my wish list on PS4 because I was like, I think I might go back and check this out because the trailers are very similar. Nice. Where you can tell that they basically expanded upon the idea. But yeah, I thought about it this morning when I fired up Darksiders and I saw the THQ Nordic thing, and I was like, dude, I know that THQ Nordic is publishing Alone in the Dark, and then I went online and looked up THQ Nordic, and then on their site they have a games page, and you can just go through and see all the games that they've published.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, there's some. Granted, there's a lot of games I don't give a fuck about that I'm sure were fine or potentially bad, but for the most part, they seem to do a lot of different things
that are consistent.
And they seem like it's a really sustainable model because they're not spending a lot of money on these games. It's just hopefully they're making a decent return on it.
Yeah. But it's nice to know, especially nowadays, that they can make consistent 7s. Yes. Maybe there's a couple 6s in there or worse, and maybe in your opinion it might be an 8 or so, but they're not total dog shit.
Yes.
So
yeah. The other developer in that space I would say is Focus Interactive. They did like Evil West and
I think they've done the Surge. If
okay.
it's the symbol with the arrows that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, let's see.
Because the Surge is, and it's an okay Souls clone. It's nothing crazy, but again, in my opinion, it's a solid 7. It's the one I was telling you about where you can target the limbs. And then you cut them off and you get the material to upgrade that side of the limb and stuff, which is a cool concept. Plus, it's got robots and dystopian, so I'm all for it.
Yeah. Here, I'll pull up games on. It's Focus Entertainment. That's their logo.
Then they are the ones, yeah, I'm pretty sure. The Surge.
Yeah, they did like a Plague Tale Innocence.
I heard that one was really good.
Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. It looks like they've done some Warhammer stuff. They did fucking Atomic Heart.
Oh, they did. That's crazy, huh? I didn't know they.
Let's see. They did Evil West. This game, Blacktail, I heard was like interesting, like a decent idea. Surgency, Sandstorm, and I guess they did Plague Tale Requiem as well. What is that?
Didn't do
Void Crew.
Is there another page? Oh, there is more pages. Good.
Yeah, they've got a decent amount on here. Alien Fireteam Elite, World War Z Aftermath.
Man, they've done a lot.
Not everything is like a blow your socks off kind of smash hit or anything, but like, which one?
That right there, that's the Surge.
Oh, the Surge too, yeah. But Vampire.
Really, huh? Damn, they did Creedfall and Battle. Damn, they've done a lot of Warhammer games.
Yeah,
that's insane.
They have like a pretty diverse background of stuff, but like the same thing applies to THQ Nordic.
Farming Simulator, they've done Farming Simulator. That's crazy.
I mean,
Warhammer Deathwing, yeah.
Yeah, they
Space Hulk, god damn.
Like, I like that tier of publisher.
Yeah.
And I feel good about like when I played Evil West, I was like, dude, you can tell that the developers that are making this game are trying to prove that they can do, like, there are a lot of things in Evil West that remind me of like God of War 2018 onward. Like the smashing open of crates. It's like, oh, these people clearly want to prove that they can go work on God of War.
Yeah.
But like using this game as like a proof positive.
Yeah, it's kind of like a resume booster.
Yes.
Like, and not to say it's like a shit job, but it's kind of crazy to think with how vast they are. It's like, okay, here's a person that wants to prove they're competent and adept at making a game. Okay, they put out a solid 7.
Yeah.
Maybe they have the skills, Yeah.
Or at least to do like some of the grunt work.
Yeah.
To
then be on a bigger name brand team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like cool to see kind of that like B tier studio or like AA studio space.
Yeah.
Doing cool stuff and mixing it up. So I just wanted to kind of give THQ Nordic the tip of the cap because it seems like I'm going to be playing a couple of their games.
Hell yeah.
Or their published games here.
I definitely will be. They have Bolt Gun on there.
Oh,
and
cool.
Space Marine too. I'll have to look at more. Did they do the Hellsinger one?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I know that one has the singer of System of a Down.
Really?
I don't know. I forget if he's the voice of the dude or if he made a legit single album for that game because it's a rhythm shooter.
Yeah.
But Sergey, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's something with a T, I think. Because I think he's Turkish.
Let's see. The publisher of Metal Hellsinger was Funcom, who I'm unfamiliar with.
Oh. But I'm pretty sure System of the Down dude did something for Hellsinger,
Gotcha.
which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this studio looks like they did Dune, Spice Wars. They're doing Dune Awakening. They've done some Conan games, which I wonder if it's like Conan the Barbarian.
If it's Conan Exiles, that's like
Conan Exiles
survival game.
Yeah. Okay.
That one's pretty cool, but
Yeah.
doesn't have dinosaurs.
Gotcha.
And it's got other cool shit, but
yeah, they seem like they've also developed some games. It looks like they got out of it though.
I feel like it's definitely good when a publisher has developed games as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the cool... I don't know... I might be just throwing shit to the wind here, but I think Bandai Namco is a really good publisher because they also make some games.
Yeah.
I think... they are mostly a publisher now because they, like, publish the From Software games, but, like, I think they have a good relationship with all of their studios.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. But... Do you have a say it with your chest?
I did. I was thinking of this one. This isn't a total original idea, but I agree with it. I don't think there needs to be a fucking crossover of every single thing in every single fucking game.
Oh.
So, like, the big Cardinal Sin game is like Rainbow Six Siege. Sure, it's kind of cool. But at its core, it's a very overly tactical, very intense game. I don't need to fucking see Rick Sanchez gunning me down and, fucking peeking me around the corner who headshots me.
Yeah.
I don't need to see fucking Rick Sanchez grappling from a fucking window to,
Wait, who's Rick Sanchez?
That's Rick and Morty.
Oh,
that's the
got
dude. You know what I mean? I don't need to see fucking Pickle Rick coming in guns a-blazing.
Yeah. Pickle Rick.
Fucking, oh shit. So I'm literally like peeking the slightest angle to headshot me. Like,
yeah.
And they've done other shit like that. And like Monster Hunter World, there was some cool, it's cool crossovers. Like they did like Resident Evil and The Witcher. And I mean, they're cool, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it would just be cooler to do an original event.
Yeah.
It's not big. Yes, I'm saying it with my chest. I do stand by it. But next week I'll have a more original idea.
Okay.
But I do stand by that. And
I hear you though.
Yeah.
I think a crossover cheapens an experience.
That's how I feel. I feel like it's a shortcut for content. For them, instead of doing the work and making something original, let's just do a collab.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
It would be like if, as funny as this is, it'd be like if in The Last of Us Factions, like if that came out, but I could play as like fucking Sly Cooper, curb stomping fucking Fat Princess or something, just because they were taking all these PlayStation IPs.
Yeah.
Or like giving the characters within The Last of Us costumes that kind of alluded to like different games. Like you could get like a Ghost of Tsushima outfit, but you're like Ellie in a Ghost of Tsushima outfit, or Ellie dressed like Ratchet and Clank, or something.
They did the Ghost of Tsushima with Horizon, didn't they? Which I mean, it looked cool, but at the same time it like was also totally out of the universe. Yeah. And it's just like it was based on a legit historical time period, and this shit did actually happen in real life. Yeah. Granted, there was no like one-man fucking super army, but there is a legit historical record of a single samurai killing 25 Mongolian soldiers, which in that time period, you probably thought that dude was a fucking god. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're a fucking like 5th grade education fucking farmer. You were told to storm a beach. Yeah. And you just see this angry man in armor fucking killing 25 of your people. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, I don't need Aloy with fucking robots running around killing Mongolians. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And like Fortnite is like the only exception to that. Yeah. Like, because it's kind of funny. Like, oh, fucking A. Tony Stark just fucking built a wall in front of me, or Tony Stark is hitting the gritty after he just headshotted me. Like, in that instance, it's funny, but in like Siege, where it's supposed to be very tactical, very serious, like CS:GO and stuff, I don't want to fucking see I don't know what other collabs they've done, but I just don't want to see a giant ass bobblehead peek in the corner.
Yeah.
Or doing the little
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, with Call of Duty. I don't want Nicki Minaj killing me with her thigh gap execution. Like, I don't know.
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, no, because like when games do that kind of stuff, it's like it reminds me of big head mode.
Yeah.
They used to be in a lot of games. Like they would do that a lot in like the Ratchet and Clank games, which are already kind of like silly, cartoony games, but cheat codes that like did things that brought costumes into the game, like when you're playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but it was developed by Neversoft.
Yeah.
And also Neversoft worked on the Spider-Man games. So Spider-Man made its way into Tony Hawk, and you could skateboard as Spider-Man. It was really cool, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this isn't like and I know nobody really looked at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as a skateboarding simulator, but before we had something that was of more of a simulator ilk, we kind of overlooked the arcade aspect of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater because it was the skateboarding game. So as soon as you're skateboarding around as Spider-Man, it kind of pulled you out of that like pro skater vibe or any semblance of realism.
Like Halo, they did a collab with Halo apparently. September 26th of 2023, the Spartan 117 armor appears as a skin for Sledge. Sledge is an Irish as fuck or Scottish and here's the fucked up part too, is Rainbow Six Siege. The people you play as come from real life counterterrorism units that exist in our world.
Yeah.
So you can play as members of the CIA, the like FBI, whatever the German equivalent of that is, whatever the French equivalent, shit like that. These are real things. You want me running around in fucking Spartan armor?
Yeah, go on. They'll never get to me, Lucky Charms.
Yeah, and you're busting down a wall and you're just gunning the fucking people, and they're like, I don't know. And then they had a Resident Evil one. Like Jill Valentine or whatever, her massive fucking just coming in there with like, this is my bulletproof armor.
With her Tifas.
Yeah, like, it's just weird. It's just a little, for a game that prides itself on being so tactical and strategy based.
Yeah. And
then you throw these in there. And again, other games do that, and they use it as like a cop out to do an OG original event. Yeah. It's just, let's just do a collab with so-and-so. And it's crazy, too, because like I'm always seeing ads of mobile games doing that shit. And you would think as a console game, you're above that. Like, I'm always seeing these fucking shitty gacha games. Oh, we have a Witcher collab. Or, oh, we have a Game of Thrones collab. Or we have this collab. And it's a shitty, terrible mobile game. Yeah. And it's like, why are you doing the same thing? So that's my say with my chest. Yeah. Now I'm happy it evolved to that, because I am actually kind of aggravated and fired up about that.
Well, that's the thing with say with your chest, is it's a feeling. So you don't have to have that much thought into it. You just have to know that you feel like this about something.
People can tell I'm pissed now.
I'm fired up.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of having the script pulled up, that's it for this episode of Save Scummers. Remember to follow, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your podcast services of choice, which, by the way, I should have mentioned at the top of the show. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Google Podcasts is going away. I did put it on there. I tried searching for it, but couldn't find it. But I'll put links to the shows down in the description box on the YouTube video. If you're already listening on audio-only services, you found it. Yep. Congratulations.
I also want to give a shout out. First podcast being a part of, and the first episode, to me, I'm very happy with the people who viewed, took an opportunity to watch it. I want to thank you. It means a lot. And then people that saw it on Spotify and were like, oh, what's going on here? You know, I want you to know that I appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and thank you for all the people that do tune in and watch. So yeah, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, we're on the grind.
Yeah.
Episode 2, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But definitely, if you're on audio only, go check out the YouTube channel, Save Scummers. uploading shorts. I've only uploaded one so far, but we're trying to see if we can pull in some extra people.
Yep.
Definitely share with your friends. And if you would like to write into the show, you can email us at savescummerspodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment on a YouTube video. Also, there's you can review the podcast. I know on Spotify there are polls and whatchamacallit, like Q&As where you can leave questions and get answers and stuff. I don't know how effective that would be to communicate, but plenty of ways. And we would love to start talking to the scumbags on the show, like respond to some feedback and stuff. So if you have anything you want to say, thoughts on anything we talked about, definitely leave a comment.
Yeah, even a YouTube comment, just a question. If you want it to be, we can try to answer that.
Yeah, that would probably be the best way to engage. The easiest way is to pull up the YouTube video, but...
Yeah, you're going to help us out, boosting that algorithm, and then it's easier for us to go and look at, and we can just give you an honest response right then and there.
Yeah, and read it on the show.
Yeah, it won't be some crafted, we got to think about how to respond to this. You'll get a direct answer right then and there and be able to see it.
Yeah, because I'm in the YouTube Studio app. I'm checking.
Hell yeah.
Also, I haven't uploaded in a long time, but I know at some point I'm going to want to kind of dabble in my YouTube channel again. So if you want to follow that, you can follow me or subscribe to Hitbox Detective over on YouTube. I don't have social media, so yeah.
I do have a Twitch channel. It is Kermat17, kind of like Kermit the Frog, but Kirmat and then just 17. I will be sprucing that up this weekend. Probably try to stream a little bit so we can get clips from shorts and whatnot. And then this weekend I will get off my butt and make a dedicated hobby Instagram account for people that I might post some shorts as reels.
Yeah.
And then also if anybody has any interest on the Warhammer side of things, I will probably be streaming painting or just some of the stuff I've done, but just to help. Be creative, try new things.
Cool.
So next episode, I will have all that information.
Right on.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you for listening or watching.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Peace.